Ay, just when I was getting somewhere. Brakes! Hi, anak. Good to see you. Looks like my keyboard has finally given up.
Naku, nanay. Go and get it repaired. I've just sent you some money with Remitly. I know you love playing for tatay.
Salamat, Andrea.
Yes, nanay. You still got moves.
Send money with Remitly. Send money that moves them.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match.
At Auto Trader, you could win an electric car. Every month we're giving one away. Just enter for free and be on your way. Insurance and a charger are thrown in too, and we'll even deliver it all to you. Visit autotrader.co.uk/giveaway to enter for free today. Autotrader, Britain's biggest matchmaker. T's and C's apply. To verify, email brand at autotrader.co.uk.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 5, season 15, tier 1, the Speedy Boys. We're around Paul Ricard for a long one, 90 minutes worth of racing. I am joined by Mr. Tim, and I'm Rage F1. How are you doing, Mr. Tim? Is he there? He is. Tim, how are you doing, buddy?
Good evening. Yes, I am all good. Glad to have you here, Rage. 12 minutes left of qualifying. Still plenty to go. And in fact, I don't think anyone's actually set a flying lap yet. So it's all good.
Good. I did say I was slightly delayed, my fault. However, we are all good to go now, which is all good. So yeah, a few minutes into qualifying, as you'll see. Tim, give us the lay of the land. What's going on?
Well, during the practice session, Aidan Walshingham was the fastest driver in the practice session, and someone that didn't put in any laps at all in the practice session was our championship leader, Luke Whitehead. So whether that was intentional or not, I'm not entirely sure. He was in the pit, but he didn't put any lap times down. It was slightly damp during that session, so who knows? He may have just thought, I can't be bothered. But about to see our first flying lap time come in for kind of a 13 of Aidan Walshingham. So be interested to see what he can do. So there we go. First time in on a green track is 153.162. He is now the man to beat. And first practice did seem to be reasonably dominated, apart from Aidan, with the front-engined rear-wheel drive cars. So not so many of the mid-engine cars inside the top 10 during practice. So be interested to see if that changes.
A little bit of a change there as we went through some information. Yeah, here he is. He's turned up. Chris Warner jumps in second place. Luke Whitehead pushes Aidan down a few positions with a 152.8. Jards is back. P4 for him at the moment. Durbin just behind him with Barrier in P6 and Alejandro in 7th. Well, whilst we watch Aidan run round on another qualifying lap, I thought I'd quickly go through the standings, if you don't mind, Tim. So currently leading, and only just, it's very close this championship so far, Luke Whitehead with 555 points. How he's managed to jump back is quite amazing, to be fair. You've got 2 second places, a third and a first, whereas Aidan's got a third, 2 firsts and a 6th, so that's probably why. Second place then, Aidan, no surprises, 338 points. What's that, 17 shy of Luke Whitehead. Valentine Barrier then, he's out of the running unfortunately, but still in the running for third place. Very close to George Boothby, 229 points for Barrier and 224 for Boothby in fourth. Sakari Lethnan holding on to the 5th spot, so it's actually jumped up a few because of Jard's non-start last week. He's got 193 points, he's 5th, with Jards in 6th with 187. Harley Chamberlain, we have 179 points on the board, and he is in 7th place. Alejandro Avilés in P8 with 175. P9, Toro Grossa, the 2 Spanish matadors in P8 and P9. Krzysztof Makowski in P10 with 137 points. It does kind of peter off after there. You've got Thomas DeCampo, Warner, Fisher, Terman, Prendergast, Sentema, Foch, Matt York in 19th place. Well, there you go. Yentl Lentil in 20th. And then the Padawan, Malho, Popichin, Blizzard going further on down the pack. So, have we got any people not taking part? That is the real question, Tim.
From what I can see, the top names are here. Whitehead, Walsingham. I'm sure Barrier is here. Yes, he is here. He's currently running in 9th on the grid. Boothby is definitely here. I haven't yet to see if Latanen is on the grid. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a look through now. Yes, he is. He's currently in 14th place. Jards, we definitely know, is here. Harley Chamberlain, having a little bit of a rummage for that driver. I'm sure they're hiding somewhere, although I'm not seeing them inside the top 20. Is Chamberlain actually here this evening? I'm going to have a scroll through. Give me 2 moments to have a little bit of a look.
I can't see it at the moment. It might be a little bit further down.
Yes, 26th place on the grid at the moment for Harley Chamberlain. Avilés is up in 4th place, so that's a decent position. Toro Grosso, whereabouts are we looking at? He's running in 8th place at the moment, and Makowski, so running out that's the 10th place in the championship. They are, if we can find them somewhere in amongst the list, they are down in 22nd place at the moment. So the top drivers in the championship are all here. They know this part of the season they cannot really afford to do a bit of a no-show. Jard's very lucky to be in the position he's in after that non-start last time round. It's a bit of a two-horse race, though, at the beginning, isn't it? With that Luke Whitehead versus Aidan Walshingham, both racing for Veloce as well. So it's an absolutely ridiculously strong team, isn't it? It is a bit ridiculous how good these two drivers are. But it is looking like possibly Aidan, his teammate, might ruin Luke's spree. He might not get the... Is it 3 he's already won in a row now? I'm trying to think how many championships it is that Luke's got in a row.
Yeah, he's 3-time. I'm pretty sure he's 3-time. Yeah.
So it's going to be a case of, you know,
pretty sure.
can Aidan dethrone the king for now? Although some other times have come in. Toro Grosso put himself into pole position at the moment. Still 6.5 minutes of qualifying left. Thomas in second place. Valentine Barrier in third. And Walshingham has been dropped all the way down to 4th place. So going to be interesting to see how it all goes. Whitehead down to 6th. So this could really be a case of if Walshingham can finish in front of Luke today, that is going to be the big one, because realistically they've been absolutely neck and neck, and it was just that poor finish last time round at Brands Hatch for Aidan that sort of really knocked his times back. So you know, who knows, it might flip the other way. Oh, I've just seen a bit of an incident as there were cars leaving the pit.
Very strange.
I think that was Boothby and one of the other cars getting together. I'm not sure which car that was next to him. It's a black Lamborghini, or at least on my screen it's a black Lamborghini. It might look slightly different for everyone at home. I'm not sure who that is.
Loverink, Skylar Loverink's in a Lambo, number 52.
I think it
Currently in
might have been.
15th place, and they are black.
Loverink, yeah, those two having a bit of a squabble as they left the pits. Obviously, in the pit, you can kind of mash into each other. And then, yeah, as they left the pits, the two of them were a bit squabbly. I don't think either of them wanted to give up that nice bit of clean traffic, but it may have cost the pair of them because they came together reasonably. Oh, there we go. Although the Lambo is now bailed out the way, I don't think there's any chance the Lamborghini is going to be able to outrun the Lexus down the straight.
Luke Whitehead goes clear. He was a couple of tenths up in that lap. Stops almost on the line. So 152.9, 3 tenths clear of Toro Grosso. Michael Thomas in 3rd place. Valet in 4th, with Aidan Walshingham back in 5th. We're watching Valentine Barry at the moment wheel it round for another fast lap. And we do actually have Alejandro currently out on a lap at the moment with a few tenths in hand. So maybe we'll stay with Alejandro Abeles. Hydra Sim Sports graphics on his car. It looks epic. Currently 7th place with a few tenths in hand. That should put him inside the top 5 if we can get it down. So we'll stay with him, see if we see any kind of improvement. But yeah, you're right. Aidan Walshingham has got a point to prove today, so he needs a very strong qualifying here. But they say, right, it's meant to be changeable conditions here today. I'm going to have a look on the race information, the settings, if you will. Chance of dry 42, chance of wet 22. So changing conditions 36. It's going to be changing. There's probably going to be some rain at some point. We'll just have to keep an eye on when and where and how much. And if that does happen, it could cause pain for Luke Whitehead and obviously jubilation for Aidan Walshingham. But we'll see. Aidan's still got to start off on a good foot, and like you say, if it doesn't focus on these cars very well, might struggle in that Honda. He's rear-engined or mid-engined, rear-wheel drive?
I believe it's mid on those ones, yeah. So everything's rear-wheel drive, but yeah, most of them are sort of... Although it is slightly odd, I think even the Aston Martin is technically classed as a mid-engine car because the engine is behind the front axle, but it's still predominantly a lot more front-engined than something like the Ferrari, the Hondas, the Audis, and the sort of cars like that, Lamborghinis, where they have that classic sort of basically right behind your elbow is a whacking great V10 screaming away. So, but it does seem to be, apart from Aidan, that sort of the top 10 cars. Well, and actually, I say apart from that, and also Luke Whitehead, but he's a bit, we'll put him in his own little bracket. He's different. everything else is these classically front-engine rear-wheel drive cars. So it's obviously these cars that are more designed for being absolutely brutally fast on the straights and getting the power down. And it seems like everything else is kind of left a bit floundering, really. Boothby all the way down in 18th place. So if Valentine Barrier can have a good finish tonight compared to Boothby, that would be great for his third-place contention.
Wet weather might put a stop to that later on. Lexus does go well in the wet, so we'll see how he copes with the conditions. Real good drive here from Michael Thomas, currently third place, and right on the split time if you take Whitehead out of the equation. Torregrossa and Barrier all within a few hundredths of each other, so it'll be very interesting to see where Michael Thomas ends up on this lap. He's on a better one, so let's see if he's able to improve. He's coming through the final couple of corners here, and he's got 2 tenths in hand. Could be a very strong qualifying here. Don't think it's going to threaten for the pole, but it could definitely threaten for the front row of the grid. Michael Thomas then running down towards the line. Still a minute to go. He will cross the beam and go second place. Brilliant effort from him. The track is evolving, it seems. Gone fast now. Eagle-eyed viewers will probably notice that's happened already, but it's gone from green to fast, so we are on a fast track. These guys have laid rubber down. It's continuously evolving. We should see some changes now. Jard's on a hotter lap, a 10th up. Aidan Walsingham, same situation for him. Lucas Congratil, the Congratil himself, is currently on a faster lap. 2 tenths in hand for him, and he's coming through the latter end of the lap. That's going to be a fantastic position. No, he's going through the first sector. I take it all back. No, he's not. He's coming across the line. I was right. There you go. P8. He should improve. Or did he throw it all away? The Congratil must have invalidated. He's only 8th place. He flew away all of that time at the end. Aidan Walsingham, though, he's currently up 2 tenths. He's definitely coming through the final few corners. I would think he's going to be up in the top spots. Is he enough for second place? It's not. Second row of the grid then it is. Aidan Walsingham then. He will be behind Michael Thomas unless he can improve on this final roll of the dice. Anyone else got any improvements out there? The Congratil is going faster. So is Alejandro Alves in P7. Michael Thomas, 1/10 up. He's further down the road. Let's jump on board with what he's getting onto in this qualifying session. He's trying to cement his position on the front row of the grid. He's coming through, I think, the final few corners. He's definitely in the last sector there. Michael Thomas having a fantastic session then from the right-hander into the left as you go down the gears into the final sector before the sharp right-hander before the final corner. Lovely jubbly. Michael Thomas with now a 10th in hand. He'll race towards the line to try and notch that in. He's getting so close to Luke Whitehead's time now. 10th away. Whitehead is also out on a faster lap. We'll see how he gets on. Aidan Walsingham then coming down the back straight, Tim. Are you with us?
Yes, sorry, was
okay.
Furiously typing away, and I was trying to get a little bit of a look. I just noticed towards the bottom of the grid a couple of cars that have been disqualified. So I'm going to presume that is cars that were not meant to take part in qualification, and still have. We've got Prendergast and Remy Papin.
Yes.
Both those cars. Yeah, I suddenly saw on the map I had a black number 10, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen the black image before. I know all the different, the teal, the yellow, the reds, all those kind of bits and pieces. But I was like, what does the black mean? And then I noticed at the bottom, yeah, cars number 10 and 6 have both been disqualified. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure he had
why that is.
He had a quali ban, Kieran. Pretty sure he had a quali ban today. Remy Papin also has got a qualifying ban. Yaroslav Dimitrov has got himself a quali ban. Anyone else? Oh, some race bans, but they're not in our tier, so that's fine. So yeah, quali bans all across the board. Remy Papin, Prendergast, and Dimitrov, all quali bans. And that's qualifying over. We were too busy talking about the old quali bans. Luke Whitehead takes another pole. Sorry, mate. Takes another pole here at Paul Ricard for the 90-minute blast to the line. Second place will be given to Aidan Walsingham. He's done what he needed to do, Tim. That's the main thing, to keep the championship alive.
Yeah, that's the thing. He just needs to, he needs to do something to get himself near the top. And luckily, he has managed to do. Well, basically, he's managed to do that, which is lucky in his respect.
Definitely. Right, guys. The reason why Tim's been quiet is because I'm still suffering for the same issue that I had last week, unfortunately. I've tried some things to fix it, and it's not fixed. You notice some of the cars crabbing into the corners. Got a network problem. I think it's going to need a new motherboard. My computer went bang the other day, and yeah, unfortunately, power supply's taken a few bits with it. By the looks of things, I didn't think it had, but it definitely has done something to the network area of this card. So I think we're going to have to change it. Never mind, it's only a few £100. What's that between friends? Until then, though, Tim will take the stream over. It'll be seamless, guys. Don't you worry. We'll switch it over, and Tim will host. Are you all good to go, buddy? Somewhere.
Yeah, if you give me a countdown,
frantically
I will flick over.
Frantically typing away.
You know.
Right, guys, bear with us.
Hopefully.
We'll just switch over so Tim can take control. We tried again, but it's not worked. Never mind. Right, I will pop it over onto the screen, and don't go anywhere. We will be 2 seconds. It won't change for you. Don't you worry. The stream won't end.
Right, fingers crossed it's all up and running. That should be us. There it is. Fantastic. Sorry about the little bit of a changeover. I may have to just quickly double check. Make sure I've got all the audio levels correct, as it's not all the time that I do this side of things. I'm usually on my tier 2, all on my Todd. No, it's all good. I just need to make sure, and say I do apologise. We will get into the list of everyone's cars. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear your delicious voice at home still. Rage.
Whilst we're doing that, we'll go through the list whilst you're checking all the bits and pieces and people can still hear. We'll go through the grid, if you don't mind. So Luke's currently on the top spot with Valentin Barrier. Sorry, no, he's not. With Aidan Walsingham, the current championship contender. The two teammates battling it out for the championship this year, currently 1 and 2. That's going to be a spicy turn 1. Valentin Barrier on the second row with Michael Thomas. Welcome to the top spots of AOR, Michael Thomas. George Boothby managed to get him. We missed that. He must have had an absolute mare of a qualifying session. Look at the top of your screens, boys and girls. 30 minutes, there is rain coming. I thought I'd interject there. Third row of the grid, joining George Boothby is Alejandro Avelez, Torregrossa, and the Padawan SGSS doing the business. Row 4 for them. Chris Warner and Jards, row 5, 9th and 10th for them. Lucas Congra-Eel, good to see him back and fighting. He'll be row 6 with Vulcan, 11th and 12th for them. Row 7 is Zerban and Sakari Lethanen in 13th and 14th. Row 8 is Mattia De Campo and Christian Renari in 15th and 16th. Row 9 then will be Samir Foch and drumroll Skylar Loverink in P17th and 18th. Row 10, Adam DeBeal and Matthias in 20th and 19th respectively. Christoph Makowski and Harley Chamberlain on the 11th row. 12th would be Jacob Blizzard and Alessio Mellis in P23 and 24. Luca Weidelich is back for another go, and he's joined by Matt York in P25 and 26. 27th and 28th place will be Josh Waring and Michael Pochapin. And then we've got 15th row of the grid then, Kevin Niles and Stefan Kochlechev. That's what he's now going to be called. The Owl himself, Kochlechev. Lucian will be in P31 with Kieran Prendergast taking up the side of him. Remy Papin in last and 33rd place, Tim.
What a long list. It's a massively stacked out grid again. I think turn 1, as always, is a bit interesting here at Paul Ricard. Lots and lots of cars absolutely gunning for it down into turn 1. So hopefully everybody can keep it clean. You know, fingers crossed. It's been a reasonably clean season so far, to be brutally honest. It hasn't been too bad. Just a quick reminder for everyone at home as well, if you look to the top centre of your screen, you will see that it is 1 hour and 30 minutes. So 90 minutes this race. So there is still a mandatory pit stop. But you don't have to change tyres, and you are allowed to fuel this time around. So a bit of a change in the old strategies. Usually everything's a bit more sort of contained and the same. So it should all be happy days. I say hopefully everything at home is all still running absolutely perfectly for you. But do let us know in the chat. I did see one person say, "No, where is the Lexus livery?" The Lexus livery, turns out, is just a really old livery that Rage never got rid of, and I have no idea where it came from. I think it was made by one of the AOR guys, Toaster, and I have yet to manage to secure it because no one knows what it is. It's just this weird ghost in the machine that lives on. So
I'll try and find it and send it to you for next week, just
Yeah.
in case we have the same problem.
yeah, we should. Most liveries should be all up and running, but apologies if there is any of your favourites that aren't there. That is just because some of the Tier 1 guys haven't necessarily put it into the official pack, and then they've just messaged Rage at some point, and he's managed to pop it in. So sometimes they slip through the cracks. I've got a couple of Tier 2 ones that I don't think anyone else has got, but yes, they do occasionally sneak through, just once or twice. You know, they just sneak their way in. But that's it, they're going down the back straight at the moment, all getting themselves ready. Let's just stick on the helicam just to get a bit of an idea of just how big this grid really is. It's absolutely ginormous. I mean, they're sort of getting to the halfway point, and they're still not even all on the back straight yet. I did realise that we missed out, and we didn't call the man by his correct name. We missed out on Moon Eyes de Campo.
Oh, Moon Eyes de Campo. We did miss
Moon
it.
Eyes de Campo. I can't believe we forgot about it. You know, just awful people that we are. You know, desperately trying to keep everything else up and going. I forgot about Moon Eyes de Campo. So if you were at home and you were thinking to yourself, "Where's Moon Eyes?" There he is. And just we'll have a little second shot. There it is. The gorgeous Moon Eyes livery. It's so cool.
Look at him.
But that's it. It's a huge grid, and they're all still on that back straight. The weaving has now commenced. Aidan Walshingham, this needs to be, you know, either pole or at least in front of Luke here to really keep his championship points and hopes alive. He really needs to try and get past. You can just see the whole grid all the way back. A little bit of a jump further back there. Lovely car, Alex Torregrosso, winning Rush GP BMW, a fantastic livery. I haven't seen. Is it the BMW that's running the confetti? Isn't it? The confetti livery.
Yes, that's Gert Fischer. I don't think he's with us today.
No.
Yeah. No Gert Fischer today. I haven't seen him on the list. And what I was going to say, I was going to go and see if we've got any shout-outs from Race Control yet about what's happening here today. But I don't think we've got any interesting bits already. Obviously, we spoke about you know, the people who won't be joining us today already. So, and we've also noticed Remy Papin is back with us. So, Tim, I take back all of my comments about the French last week because he's here and he didn't race. So we're back. Welcome back, Remy Papin. I withdraw my comments.
Well, I think Papin and Prendergast, they're obviously starting from the back of the grid because they had quali bans, but that does mean they can still race. But I have just noticed Alessio Mellis has suddenly appeared in the pits. So I think completely missed quali and has got in there right at the last moment. Right, we're going to jump up to the helicam as it's a bit best to try and see the start. Aidan Walshingham already trying to take away pole position, even though it's not even started. But this is the final run to the line. Some of these drivers probably won't even be on the main straight when the lights go green. They might all just about squeeze in. But this is the final run to the line. They know they've got 30 minutes of dry running. And then there's 90 minutes of uncertainty, but the light goes green. That's a really, really strong start there by Luke. Valentine Barrier loses one position to Thomas straight away. Boothby has a good start. And it looks like, I think that's Aviles in the middle that went back. Is everyone going to make it through turn one? It looks like it. No yellow flags appearing yet. A couple of cones going absolutely galactic as people clip into them. George Boothby already fully on the attack.
Stayed a little bit further back for you, Tim. No accidents so far. Watching Matt York negotiate his way through turns 4 and 5 and seems to got through okay. Oh, up the inside of Luka Weidlich, had to slam on the brakes, but no, everything fine in the back of the pack at the moment. Kieran Prendergast finding the rumble strip and a bit further though, as they all come down towards the back straight. All good.
Fantastic stuff to hear. Everyone's made it onto the back straight. A little bit of a immediately going offline. Saw some very strange sort of tactics from people over the space of the week, but you get an idea of just how fast everyone is, and the Honda does appear to be reeling in the back of Whitehead. Can he do anything? Is he going to go for a big brave dive? They're teammates, but they both want the championship. I think this is the little one to keep a bit of an eye on. I'd be amazed if everyone makes it through this corner nice and cleanly. They technically turn 8, which is amazingly, it's so far around the track to be turn 8 because the sheer length of that back straight is just absolutely diabolical.
Yes, we did have a few incidents at the back. I think we're okay, though. It looks like Luca Weilich and I think it was Mateus going toe-to-toe through that turn 9 complex. Matt York keeping his nose clear, but I think he's dropped a few places.
Yeah, Matt York now just jumped on board with him down in 25th place. I think that was fairly close to where he started. He's got Niles right behind him. A couple of people that have made a good first lap though. Prendergast already up to 29th place, so he's gained at least 1 or 2 positions over that first lap.
Massively out of place, isn't he, because of his quali ban? So yeah, it'll be a great race to watch on board with Kieran Prendergast. I know Prentissini is in the chat today, so welcome, buddy. The son's doing well. He's got a job on his hands. Just to quickly touch on a battle that we were missing out on. Jards and Lethenen were going toe-to-toe into turn, I think it's turn 8. And yeah, Jards managed to hold on to the position. He's fighting behind Alejandro and Chris Warner, who's chasing the front pack. Luke Whitehead then 6/10 back from Aidan Walsingham, still holding on. He's managed to break that toe as they go down towards the back straight. This is where Luke Whitehead needs to eke out that space, eke out that gap so he doesn't come under threat into turn 8 under that huge engine that is in that Honda that seems to just eat everything. But no, he's doing okay at the moment.
Speaking of Hondas eating everything, it's looking like Lathamann's going to try and go around the outside of Jards down towards turn 8. Can he do it? He's side by side, but he's not quite got in front. He does back out a little bit. Can't quite do it. Drops in behind, but that will be definitely putting a little bit of the scares. Oh, incident going on just further back as well. I think that was Paduan getting involved with Asiacek. There's a little bit of rubbing as they went through turn 8. It's very, very difficult to try and go multiple cars wide there safely. And I think there was just a little bit of a sharing each other's tyre walls, we'll say that. Valentine Barrier and Boothby now, 4th place. This battle really heating up. There is slight overlaps as they're coming now into the final turn.
They were side by side for that whole final sector. I know you were talking about the guys a little bit further back. I kept an eye on what was happening with Boothby. And yeah, they were not giving each other any space at all through 9 and 10. Boothby just holding on to that rear quarter of Valentine Barry and Valet, giving the space but not giving enough for Boothby to be able to take the position away. As you see an Apex 1 car there trying to get past Torregrossa. I think that's Warner for position, that's 6th place. But yeah, Luke Whitehead all the while eking away that gap, Tim.
Yeah, Luke Whitehead definitely started to, well, nearly a second away now. That's a really, really good start to the race. It'll just be interesting to see how that car can keep going. Whereabouts has Mellis got to? Because obviously he joined the race late. Oh, he's still in the pits, according to this. No, I think he's left immediately. I think he got here a bit too late and has already left the race again. So, sad to see Mellis come in and then go again. Just looking now at that battle. George Boothby on the back straight is now starting to catch up with the back of Barrier once again. God, the Lexus really strong, and I've just noticed that the rain is coming in about 10 minutes time, and round goes Boothby. He's round the outside going down towards turn 8. Can he do anything? Oh, they're so close. He somehow gets in front and gets the door closed. How on earth he managed to get that done? I don't know whether maybe Barrier almost had to let off the throttle there. Like, whoa. You could not have got a single piece of paper between those two drivers then. There was nothing in there. I'm pretty sure they must have traded paint. Good Lord. I think there might have even been a little flick of the hazards then, just to sort of say thanks for that. There was definitely an orange light on the back of that Lexus as opposed to the red brake light. So Boothby goes through, takes away 4th position, and is looking like an absolute rocket ship down the back straight. The way he went past that Aston Martin of Barrier there, it was like it was standing still. It was insane.
He's doing the business indeed, isn't he? That almost happened the first lap out. He obviously decided he needed to do it slightly different, and he made it work this time. In the meantime, while you're talking there, Tim, I actually did find the Lexus livery, and I'll send it to you later.
Oh,
so you can do it for next time, just in case. So we do have it, don't worry, it's in the bin, ready to go. Yeah, poor old Valentine Barrier. He's under threat from that huge engine. This could be really good for Boothby. It's about to rain in X amount of time. And also he's in a Lexus that does well around here in the rain, so it could be a shoo-in for a good finish today.
Yeah, if he can, championship points, he's going to struggle to get himself, he's not going to take away 1st and 2nd place. especially with the way that, you know, Whitehead and Walshingham are going. Just have a little bit of a look. Has Walshingham managed to break away at all? Got himself a little bit of a gap over Thomas, but it's still not much. But do you think Boothby's going to get him, if he can keep this pace up, I think he can get himself on the podium. If not, I think he might be able to get himself pole position, because his pace is absolutely flying already. As saying, looking at his lap times, you know, it was a 1:52 last time round. As he's running the fastest lap of the race at the moment, and he's a hundredth of a second faster than Luke was. So over the space of an hour and a half, he really could reel it in. And now it looks like Aidan and Thomas are starting to have a little bit of a squabble. Just on board with Aidan Walshingham at the moment. Car number 13, unlucky for some, but this season it's been very, very good to him.
I was going to say that if Boothby manages to unlock the power of that car, if it does go wet later, the BMW and the Honda will be fast. Luke Whitehead will slow down. So you could have all three of these cars kind of jostling later on for position. That Lexus only gets faster the lighter it goes, so it should be fine, it should be good, but it does burn through tyres. So he's probably hoping for the rain sooner rather than later, because it keeps that tyre deck down a little bit. But we'll see what happens as the race progresses. But yeah, you're right, he's going very quickly at the moment. Last lap was a 1:52.6, but yeah, Luke Whitehead was a 1:52.4. Luke took away the fastest lap of the race from George Boothby that last time around.
That clear air, isn't it? I mean, I'm surprised looking at how quickly he was moving forward that Boothby did end up losing that position. But nice little squabbles going on further back. Got Bremley Pappen in 23rd place now, already absolutely flying his way up through the grid. He started right the way at the back. I think he was on the final row. He's made his way past lots and lots of different cars already, and he's on the back straight at the moment, chasing after the back of Blizzard. Matt York as well in the background, looks like looking to try and make a move around the outside of Gwartz. Not sure, amazingly, not seeing the Bentley out-drag the Ferrari. He's going to have the inside line going down towards turn 8. You've got Prendergast as well, Vidalik, lots and lots of cars. They're all a bit tight, but they do go through. And amazingly, the Bentley did not out-drag that new Ferrari. I'm very surprised. I would have thought on that back straight that the Bentley would have been able to take him. But, oh, there's been an incident further back. Was that... Oh, which one of the cars that was? I just saw a Ferrari go absolutely flying off. I think it was Proticina. We're going to go back and see if we can spot that. We're going to jump on the helicam to get a bit of an over-the-top shot. So this is turn 8. They're flying in. What happens here? No contact through turn 8, but then it is dented to turn 9. Oh, just a slightest touch. And the car was drifting for a long old time. And sadly, was then collected by the bright Grello Porsche. Yeah, that was a good night Vienna, I'm afraid. Off to the outside, luckily not hitting any curbs, but down into 31st place, so not where they would have wanted to be. It's a big old drop down and a massive gap for them now to try and catch back up with. Oh, we got rain. Oh, we do have rain. I've just noticed
instantly.
It's going to get wet. It's going to get less wet in 30 minutes. So this might be just sort of like a 20-minute, half an hour shower.
Oh my God, this is going to cause chaos with these tyres.
Yeah, and especially the fact that, you know, you don't necessarily have to do your one pit. You have to pit, but you don't have to change tyres. It's really going to change up what people are doing. Sort of their plans for when they were going to get tyres might all change. Just on board with Jard, being chased down by Lathan at the moment.
It's going to be absolute chaos through turn 8 as the track gets wetter. Thomas was getting incredibly close to Walshingham. Walshingham not able to bridge the gap from Michael Thomas just that little bit further back. Yeah, as Boothby looms close. Barrier and Torregrossa, Warner, all very close together as well. And yeah, it sounds like Lethen and Jards are getting incredibly close to each other as well. This is about to get tricky, Tim. We've got obviously rain now, a little bit more rain in 10 minutes time, and then within 30 minutes it's going to go dry again. So the track will go wet, I would have thought, before the end of that rain kind of session. Do they hang it out? They've got 7 minutes on the tyres already. They can do what? It's about 45 minutes they need to to actually pit in, so they might as well try and soldier it out on the dry tyre, and then change again for the dry tyres in roughly 30 minutes time, bringing them to 47 in total, ready for their normal pit. It's going to be a stint of pain for these boys.
Yeah, I think if you're coming in and changing to wets now, it's so much of a risk, especially if the track goes dry. There's no way that you can nurse a set of wets that far. It's one of those things of you can sometimes nurse a set of dries in the wet for quite a long amount of time. It's amazing what you can do on slicks, especially if you're sticking to that main line. You might not necessarily gain any positions, but you can just about hang on to that racing line. Thomas, really bad run on that back straight, and the gap has opened up significantly. Trying to keep a little bit of an eye on the gap for Whitehead as well. That seems to be... Oh, I think we've got cars round at the back. Did I just see cars round? Or it might just be a case of seeing cars so far back on the circuit as they're now completely covering the entire stretch.
And good whiz back, couldn't see anyone round. It is getting worse though, Tim. They could be suffering. Good place to watch them would be going through turn 8. Hard right-hander on full downforce. They might struggle there. But yes, it's greasy still. But what I was going to say, so the times went down by a whole second, and it only started raining when the leaders were in the final sector. So I think they might actually be a couple of seconds down now on their fastest time. So it was a 1:52. Last time round was a 1:53.5. This time round it's probably going to be in the high 54s. Oh, let's see, as Lou Whitehead's just about to come down towards the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, and some change. Oh my goodness, it's actually got worse. 57 seconds as Aidan Walsingham pulls it into the pit to change for tyres. Other cars have come in too. That's Valentin Barrier and Torregrossa. They've decided that they want to make a change. There's going to be at least 20 minutes on these wet tyres. They're going to have to do 2 pit stops. It's whether the net gain will be more than the pit stop. Huge call from Aidan Walsingham. That's a championship defining call from Aidan. Luke Whitehead has to stay out now if he wants to keep the race alive.
Yeah, he's going to have to roll that ball, isn't he? He's going to have to see if it works. Roll the ball, roll the dice, isn't he? I've just noticed as well, Boothby really catching up at the back of Thomas. Obviously, Thomas now released and won't have anyone in front to sort of attack, so he should be able to catch up. But you can just see our top 4, 5 drivers now as they weave their way towards the back straight.
Alejandro was off in turn 4, I will say. Cut the corner, turn 4 to 5. Just lost the car in the low speed on the wet tyre. They're losing a lot of time. So 57 was the last time around. That's, what, 5 seconds off the fastest in the dry. It depends on what you can do on a dry tyre. They've obviously decided, done some maths in Aidan's car, and they think, actually, this could work. It could work for a reasonable amount of time. Let's do some maths here as well. We'll do some counting. Obviously, it could be another 10 minutes on the tyre. Within 30 minutes it's going to be dry, but it doesn't mean, at least not raining, it doesn't mean that it's going to be dry. Track is now damp. If we go any further than this, those slicks won't be effective. We might see more cars coming in this lap, Tim.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a case of if you want to try and set any kind of time. I mean, you could be brave, you could try and hold it out. Again, you might be hoping, oh, a bit of a mistake there, just on board with Dubel and Zerbin. We saw Zerbin go outside track limits on turn 8. He hit one of those the flapper boards on the outside. But then Dubel really struggling to keep that Ferrari going in a straight line. Rain light flashing away on the back of it. And Zerbin sniffing all around the back like a pig after a truffle. He is right on the back of him. Although it's just suddenly out of nowhere, as I was saying my sentence, the gap opens up. And actually Moon Eyes DeCampo is right on the back of Zerbin now. Ooh,
Chris Warner in the pit, by the way.
Yeah, Zerbin, Campo and Dubel in the pits as well. Yeah, so it does seem like staying out is not the way to do it. So let's have a little bit of a look at whereabouts is Aidan. He's pitted and he is only in 19th place, which obviously I know we've got lots of cars cycling in and out the pits at the moment. It's going to be a bit strange, but it's going to be interesting to see what Aidan's lap times are in comparison to Luke Whitehead. I say, because at the moment Luke Whitehead's doing what was a 2:01 last time round, which is absolutely diabolical. That sounds like my kind of lap time, as opposed to Luke Whitehead sort of thing. So we get interesting to see how this looks for Aidan. I think this is his out lap he's on at the moment, so we're not expecting to see a particularly great time from him. But this is going to be the where to look at now. If we're going to stick with Aiden for a minute, and we'll just try and keep a little bit of an eye on his lap times, because in comparison to that absolutely decimated lap times of Luke Whitehead, but looking at it, he's 6 to 7 seconds off his best time, and he's only, well, no, even more than that. He is absolutely hemorrhaging time. Yeah, it's looking like, absolutely seconds. Yeah, it's like 8 seconds, isn't it? It's still getting worse and worse as well. It's just, as he's going through, it's nearly 10 seconds a lap.
Yeah. How long's the pit? What, it's a 30-second stop at least, with probably 15 seconds either side. So what's that, a minute and a bit, I would say, roughly. So we'll have that in the space of, well, yeah, 7 or 8 laps. And that's probably what you'll have to sacrifice. Aiden Walsingham could have pulled an absolute trump card here. Boothby decides to come in. It's too much for him. He's pulled it in from third. We'll see the gap that Aiden Walsingham's been able to pull on that, because there'll be your yardstick for that little kind of period of time. But yeah, it could have been a make and break. Luke Whitehead still lapping. Boothby in. Aiden Walsingham in 10th.
I mean, there's lots of cars have pit since then, but still, I mean, even before this big wave of cars, he was still in 19th place. So it was obviously a very efficient pit stop. He managed to get it done. Obviously, there's fixed times, but you can save the odd second here and there. So that, if you get it really efficiently done, and you manage to get in,
that's probably why.
Yeah, very good point. I think it's 30 seconds, isn't it? Is like the fix for. Boothby already on the move though. Aiden is now on the pit straight, so he's definitely going to get past Boothby again.
Here's the time then.
Here it comes. What will be
1:59?
So that's not that. Oh, actually, yeah. About to say last lap for Luke was a 2:03. So for a minute I was like, oh, it's not that bad. He's only a second or two, but no, he is well off the pace. I think it was a risky move for Luke to stay out. I can't see it working unless it stays dry for the rest of the race and Whitehead somehow manages to limp on through the stage, and then he's already on the dry tyre, so he's only going to have to pit once. So that is the only thing. Walsingham has basically set himself up for a double stop. He has to do a double stop. The rain is going to be stopping within the next 30 minutes. The track is still only damp. It's got to go full wet, I would say, for the end of this. It must go full wet. I can't see it not, but we'll have to keep a little bit of an eye. Two of the cars.
Well, sorry, Tim. There's no shout to say that it might not go wet again after 30 minutes.
Yeah, true. It might go back to wets again. Still, though, I think an hour and 10 minutes on one set of wet tyres in possible changeable conditions. Towards the end of the race, those tyres are going to be absolutely hanging, I would say. Abeles, who was running in 4th place, he comes into the pits. Keeping an eye on Makowski and Chamberlain. Chamberlain going round him, drove just straight past him on the pit straight. Not entirely sure how that happened. I don't know if that was a bit of a list there from Makowski. But through goes car number 725. Oh, wait, am I looking? Yeah, no, it is Harley Chamberlain. Absolutely flew past, although it looks like he might be able to lose another position. No, he's not. Holds on to it. It's all chop and change, but I think both these cars still on the slick, dry tyres, so just about holding on to it. And I say Walshingham's going to be the first car to come up behind these two. We've got Remy Pappen as well, who has stayed out on the wets, who's sniffing around the back of the pair of them as they start to squabble. Luke Whitehead, lap time still nearly at 2:04, and in comparison to Walshingham's 1:58.
Just found another second in that one, Tim. So what's the gap? It's 5.5 seconds, if not a little bit more. That's considerable. You got that extra pit stop to make later, so just got to hope. It's quite hard to work it out whether it's worth it or not. I think they just had to roll the dice. I get what Luke's doing. He's thinking, well, I'm only going to have to pit once. Aiden has to pit twice. He might be fast now, but he's going to have to pit again. So as long as I can just stay ahead of him through the pit stage, then we should be fine. Risky business from both drivers. I like it though. It's keeping the championship alive, Jim.
Oh, just seen a little 10-second penalties come through for Josh Waring. If you could have a little look and see what... Oh! And just as I cut to him as well, he's having a squabble with Lovering. So, be interested to see what that 10 seconds is for.
It's a moderate penalty for causing an avoidable collision. Okay. 10-second time penalty and 2 naughty points for car number 34.
2 naughty points. that's a decent old chunk of naughty points, to be fair. A little bit further up the grid, this is the battle for 24th? 25th place. It's 25th. Because it's far too close. Weidlich just in front of these two. I am absolutely astonished to see the Ferrari out-dragging that Bentley still. I just do not understand how that is happening. I mean, obviously it is because of the custom BOP. It means that it's not just a case of, oh yeah, the Bentley's great in the straight line. Oh, off just in front of them. Weidlich goes very, very wide. He's still off the racing line. Manages to get it back together, but I think it was turn 8 just super unsettled that Porsche, and he went way, way wide, then into turn 9. And now he has got himself right into the clutches of Matt York and that car number 16. I don't believe I've ever pronounced his name before. Is it Woods?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Matthias is where I stop.
Oh yeah, that is absolutely fair enough. Yeah, we'll go with Matthias. That seems like a safer option. Not meaning to insult anyone, obviously. At the moment, Weidlich has immediately pulled away and is running off up the road, further up the grid with our drivers that still haven't pitted. Remy Papin is now catching up with the back of Mikowski, and Mikowski looking very unsettled through turn 8 and through turn 9. Goes wide, Papin looks to the inside, slight overlap, but is it going to be enough? Yes, he's now got the all the way up the inside. Is he going to get the door shut? A little bit of paint sharing, and he does get through. So Remy Papin obviously hoping that maybe a bit of a running on the slicks is going to do him a little bit of a favour, but again, he's doing 2:03s. He's actually the fastest driver out there on the slick tyres. Yeah, he is. He's the fastest driver on slicks at the moment. Significantly faster. He's, I think he's over a second a lap faster than... Actually, there you go. Luke Whitehead just set another lap, so they've now managed to square that up ever so slightly. But for a little while, he was a second a lap faster than any of the other slick-clad cars.
He had to try something different, though, didn't he? Because he started from the back of the pack. Started literally from the very back because of his quali vans. Got himself up into 5th place because of his roll of the dice. I mean, look, some guys have stuck with it, haven't they? The top 7 have thought, well, we're in it now for a penny or a pound. And they are doing okay. It's not a disaster. 203, high 203s, low 204s. As long as they keep that kind of pace up, they might be in for a shout. Within the next 10 minutes, the rain's going to get less. Those cars will start to speed up again. They might not actually have to pit just yet. What have we got left? An hour almost. So, yeah, when it gets down 15 minutes, it'll probably be another time for some extra tyres. The wet runners might not have called it well here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of an improvement, obviously, in the lap times, but it's not the catastrophic times we thought we were going to see. We really thought we were going to see, you know, sort of like the leaders dropping times like an absolute stone, but it hasn't happened. They've managed to hold on to it. Saying if anyone's going to pull it out of the bag and sort of perform a bit of a miracle, it is going to be Luke Whitehead, isn't it? Just to be brutally honest. A little bit of a squabble going on further down the field at the moment. This is the battle for 17th place. So this is Padawan Avilés and Muniz de Campo. At the moment is an AMG sandwich for Avilés. He is stuck between the two of them. Be interesting to see on this back straight who has the legs. Oh, so incredibly even, to be honest. And actually, I just noticed there's another car sneaking in as well. We've got Zerbin coming up behind. Ranieri, just noticed he's had a 5-second penalty that he's just picked up. Whitehead still staying out and still holding on to pole position. He has got Michael Thomas, though. I think in all of this, Michael Thomas has been lapping just fractionally faster over and over again. And he's within sniffing distance. There's not a great deal of a gap between them. So whether that's just Whitehead sort of trying to, you know, manage the gap, not go too hard, but I think also it's the fact that Thomas is just looking very planted in that BMW. I think if this wet, they're staying on the dries in the wet, if this works out for any of the drivers, I really feel like it might be Thomas and Assetto, that those two BMWs have the capability to really, really sort of, you know, put in a good finish here this evening. But if Walshingham can't get up from 8th, obviously he's going to gain a few in the pit stop. But if this doesn't work out for him, if he doesn't finish in front of Whitehead, it's really putting such a massive amount of strain on his championship hopes. But look at the gap between these two. Whitehead and Thomas, absolutely miles away from car number 67. Like, that gap is absolutely huge.
Luke Whitehead went hugely wide through 8, then completely missed the board that he needed to go on the inside of, so he'll get himself a warning. I've noticed as well Whitehead suffering on the front brakes. He was locking and going sideways into apexes the last few laps. Last time around was a 203.9, where Thomas was a 203.5. So that's why Thomas was looking slightly menacing behind. But you're right. But I think the reason why that gap is Assetto was that far behind. Chamberlain, Papin, they were all middle to back end of the pack, or at least Papin was. Assetto definitely was. Chamberlain's the only outlier there, because I thought Harley was a little bit further up. Might have had a worse qualifying. So that's, I think, probably the only reason there's that big gap. Everyone who was in that gap has come in and pitted. But yeah, we should see some changeable conditions coming soon. The rain easing off within the next 5 minutes, definitely. And then within that next 15 minutes or so, we should go to some dry running again. And that is, yeah, that's almost curtains for those guys that decided not to you know, hang it out like these boys have. Yes, there's a deficit in lap time, but I think that was the call. Luke Whitehead definitely suffering in the low speed as well.
Yeah, we went back on a replay of that turn 8, and yeah, you could see that sort of normally where they'd be able to sort of ride that red and white curb and sort of go out and cut themselves back in just before the sort of little flappy paddles, you could see the car got super unsettled. There was a big snap of oversteer. He managed to rectify it and not sort of, you know, go spinning off into the barriers in the distance, but he did absolutely go mega wide, and that definitely would have picked him up at least a track warning. So only get 3 chances of a track limits abuse, and then you end up getting an in-game penalty. So it isn't just the live stewarding at play here as well. You've also got the in-game stewarding that will pitch in, put little bits and pieces in. It will keep an eye on your track limits. You get 3 strikes, and then that's it. You pick up a penalty, and it's a bit of a sting. It's not what you're going to want. All your plans and pit stop strategies go out the window when you start picking up big in-game penalties. Just jump back now to Samir Bosch running in 15th place, and it is the old Ferrari, isn't it? He's still in the old Ferrari. The man is an absolute madman, and he's now being hunted down though by Lehtinen. He is right on the back of him. That Honda absolutely came out of nowhere. Oh, Weidlich as well in the Porsche car number 29 has picked up a 5-second penalty.
More information coming out from the stewards. So there's Christian Ranieri, you can probably see it on your screen, responsible for causing a minor avoidable collision, getting himself 1 naughty point. There's Luca Weidlich, considered responsible for a contact between 29 and 267. I think that's Lucian. Lost the control of the car, and then there was contact, 1 licence point, but obviously Luca didn't spot the car losing itself and causing a little bit of a shunt back towards the middle of this pack. Yeah, the gap between the top 2 kind of still staying the same. Eking out to Assetto. Where's Aiden? 7th place then, and he's 7 seconds behind Mikowski. So they are now hunting down these non-pitters. Obviously they have to. They want to keep the dreams alive. There we go. Within 10 minutes we're going to see some dry running, Tim.
Yeah, and the track, it's not going to go full wet, or if it does, it's going to be there for about 30 seconds, so not even a quarter of a lap time, and then it's going to be straight back to damp again. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, at the beginning when I saw cars staying out on slicks, I thought, that's a mistake, that's not the thing to do, but it turns out there's a reason that some of these drivers, especially Luke Whitehead, are there consistently at the top of the grid and the top of the championship, and they make the right call when they need to. And as we said, he is the man that is a human calculator, and I imagine he was trying to work out immediately in his mind of what lap times does he need to be doing compared to Aiden, what could he do, and he's just managed the gap nicely. So if it doesn't suddenly, when it clicks over, when the weather screen changes, as long as it doesn't show rain again in about 30 minutes, then they've made the right call. The issue is going to be if it rains again within the next 30. How late are they going to try and leave this pit stop? Are they going to go to wets? Are they going to have to do a 2-pit strategy closer to the end of the race when you don't have as much time to make up from sort of any mistakes and things like that? You're going to get stuck in traffic towards the end of races. People have a bit more fatigue, especially if you're going through back markers. It can all get a little bit more dicey towards the end of a race, or people are thinking to themselves, I just need one more spot to get ahead of my rival in the championship, and so they are just pushing a bit harder, going for those slightly more risky moves, not looking in the mirror so much for blue flags. Oh, car number 19 has got a yellow flag. Try and jump back to that one. That is Ranieri.
Just did some maths for you, Tim. Looked at the calculations of when Aidan Walsingham will get out to the back of Luke Whitehead if this continues, which it should do. It will be within 5 laps. That's roughly 10 minutes. That's when the rain should stop. Not the track dry, but at least the rain stop. That will be 25 seconds if the pace stays where it is. That will be enough to get to the back of Luke Whitehead before the switchover of tyre. So it gets harder to decide what's going to happen as Aidan Walsingham drives round Makowski and hunts down Remy Papin and Harley Chamberlain, and he will probably catch both of those drivers, at least Remy Papin, before the end of this lap. Harley Chamberlain might take a little longer, but you can see them. They're both on the straight. Aidan Walsingham is slowly hunting down his dry-tired prey.
Excellent bit of math work there. Something that even if I had all the time in the world, I would not be able to sort that kind of thing out. And my brain just does not do numbers. Hammers and spanners I can do, but when it comes to numbers, not a chance. I just noticed that obviously a couple of the drivers, obviously we saw them starting to drop back through, and you can see just how quickly they're being eaten up by these sort of wet-clad cars. I'm only looking at car number 7, and they're already back to 13th place and being gobbled up by everyone around them. That's Steppen, and again I think they've just lost another position there to Chris Warner, that BPM soft Aston Martin.
Here comes Aidan on Papin and Chamberlain then. Hopefully he can get them done into turn 1. He'll have the faster exit speed. He should just drive past them, really. He should be able to get into the braking zone. I will be very surprised if Papin fights it. We have to be careful not to go into the back of Chamberlain here, because he's going to be that much better on the brakes. Probably a really bad time to catch Harley. There you go. Through Papin. And then he's going to start eating into Harley Chamberlain on the exit of turns 2. And here we go, into 3, should have the inside line, should outbrake him by a country mile, and there you go, that's through for 4th place. And he's only got 3 seconds for Asiacek ahead, and then there's the big drive up to Michael Thomas, 14 seconds. That should take 3 laps. Should be roughly, what's that, 2, 4, 6 minutes-ish for him to get to the back of Michael Thomas. Definitely enough time on this weather condition.
Yeah, still a good 10 minutes left. It's going to be around the midway point in the race where it's still fully wet. Well, I say fully wet. It's still damp on the circuit. Going to be just interesting to see, though, how long that wet tyre can stay out. Obviously, if he can catch up with the back of Whitehead or get in front of Whitehead, then fair enough. He can afford a second pit stop because he'll already be ahead, and Luke still has to do a pit at some point. So again, we're almost having to eat our words time and time again. The way that the race just keeps developing over and over again. Little battle going on just behind. We've got Barrier versus Makowski. Barrier going through nice and easily, though. So he has got those.
Check there for 3rd, Tim.
Yeah, goes on through.
Nicely done.
So
there you
now,
go. So here we go. 40 seconds, sorry, up to the next car.
I mean, it's no traffic now in front of him. He just has to concentrate on putting in those lap times. It'd be interesting to see what his lap times do now that he's completely sort of unleashed from all traffic. I imagine Whitehead and Thomas are probably thinking to themselves, they've watched that car number 13, that little 13 slowly making its way up the board, and they've just thought, oh God, have we made the right call? This is where it becomes sort of edge of seat stuff. Have you got your math right? Have you made that risky call? Has it worked, or is it going to put it all to a scupper? So, God, look at that gap. He's already pulled away from Assetto, absolutely flying away. You can really see the difference, the deficit of those slick tyres that other drivers have got. But it could flip either way. It still is such a flip of a coin that we've only done about a third of the race. It could still really go in either direction. It's so early to try and call. Walshingham with absolutely phenomenal pace. Say 5 seconds a lap, basically, quicker than Luke Whitehead last time. Give or take a couple of hundredths here and there. I think Boothby's having a bit of a squabble with Jard still. He's up into 10th place.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, they were right next to each other. Looks like Boothby could have possibly just got past, or Jards is threatening. Yeah, what a fun car to try and overtake. That bump draft down the back straight into turn 8. Jards not getting it done. The Aston Martin struggling down that straight. We saw him almost being passed by the Honda a few times of, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. The Finnish driver. New guy to us. Sakari Lehtinen.
Oh, Lehtinen.
Yeah. Yeah, Lehtinen a little bit further down in P15 must have not maybe pitted on a slightly different strategy as Jards. The gap's 11 seconds. He's managed to eat 4 seconds in that last lap. He's going fast, is Aidan Walshingham. Really fast.
I think all the drivers that made that call immediately early, you know, drivers like Valentine Barrier, Walshingham, the drivers that just get into the pits immediately. I think it will be a good net gain for them. Some of those drivers that just stayed out a little bit longer, just a couple of extra laps, they're not going to see that big improvement simply because they lost a few seconds staying on them slicks originally. So they're kind of getting a bit of the best of both worlds, but it does also mean you get the worst of both worlds. Boothby absolutely flying up past Harley Chamberlain now. Not very often you'll see a Lexus out-braking a Honda, but there we go, absolutely done. And just look at that difference in the braking points, absolutely huge.
Yeah,
he honestly could have
Go on.
You could have got a double-decker bus in that gap. It was absolutely massive. Just could not believe how early the Honda had to get on the brakes, simply because it is still wearing those slick tyres. Battle going on just in front as well. Toro Grosso going past Remy Papin. Boothby.
Mooneye struggling back there. Oh no, it's Papin. Sorry, go on, carry on.
I think
Boothby's
going to take the pair of them. I think he's going to manage to get past Papin and Toro Grosso. He's nearly a touch, but he's going to be on the outside for turn 8. Can he do anything? He had an absolutely thunderous run. The Lexus being absolutely ridiculously quick down the back straights. They both hold on to it. Could be a move here into turn 9. Toro Grosso goes defensive to the inside. Boothby to the outside. Trying to run round. Kind of a 75. If he can hold on to this overlap, will then have the inside for the next turn. No, he can't. Door is slammed in his face. BMW gets sideways in front. A little bit of traction loss. Lexus looks to the inside. Oh, just outbrakes himself. I think the front locked up on him. And now back through comes Jards. You can only imagine the joy in Jard's voice getting past Boothby, as those two drivers know each other very well. I imagine both of them on their stream and all their communities will be giving as much grief back and forth to each other as you can possibly imagine. But yeah, slight mistake there from Boothby. Just got on the brakes a little bit too hard. Front brakes locked up and the rain has stopped. That is it. No more rain falling. So where is Aidan in comparison to Luke Whitehead? Still pretty close. Oh, there's traffic still going on for this battle as well. We're keeping an eye on this, the Boothby-Honzik battle, the Boothby-Jards battle.
Aidan's 3 seconds away from Thomas. You can see him, you can smell him. He's only 5 seconds away from Luke Whitehead. He'll have him in 2 laps. It's going to stay damp for a good few laps, but the gap is going to be harder to come down. You've got to remember as well, the tyres have already been stretched slightly for Whitehead and Thomas. So as this track comes back to them, they might be able to get a little bit of extra life out of that tyre that they haven't seen because it's been so cold for a long time. So they might be able to go a little bit longer. It depends on how long they fueled the car. If they were clever, they would have seen that rain come up 30 minutes and thought, what do we do here? Do we overfuel the car and see if we can go deep into this race and try the one stop? Or do we underfuel the car and hopefully change the tyres for the wets later on and maybe do the fuel stop before? It's a very tricky question when it comes to these longer races. I think Luke and Thomas have done enough here.
Yeah, so I think obviously as the track starts to get drier and drier and as the track temp starts to come up, those slicks are going to come to life. And at the same time, Walshingham's wet tyres are going to start dropping off. As soon as they get hot, those wets, they are nigh on impossible to cool down. So you might start to see him coming off a line, but not at the moment. And he just goes flying on by. And in comes Thomas into the pits now. So
he'll go dry again, won't he?
Yeah,
he must do.
Got to stay on slicks. If he goes to wets, that will just be, an absolutely diabolical move. We just saw there Whitehead flicking through the front of the shot as Walshingham flying on through. So the lap times have gone now the way of, it's a 2:01 last time round for Whitehead and a 1:58. So still 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds a lap improvement for Walshingham. And realistically, by the end of this lap, he could be right on the back of him. But for the next half an hour...
Looks stressed for Walshingham through 4. As he hit a little bit of the dry line, the rear started to let go. So I think Walshingham will be hunting for wet patches down this back straight. Keep those tyres cool. Let's see what he does. If he keeps the line, it'll be very interesting, but I think he'll stay off. He is, look, hunting on that inside. He knows those tyres are starting to heat up. He wants to cool them down. He's looking for that rain. He's coming under threat here, and they both have to pit now, remember.
Yeah, they both still need to pit at some point. I mean, obviously, it didn't appear that Aiden took on any fuel. He was so quick. I know you can get I think you get like a small amount of fuel in at the same time. I think it's like 30 seconds you can basically get, obviously, because of the tyre change. But did he put fuel in then? Is it just going to be a case of chuck some tyres on and go?
Luke would have noticed that dive to the inside. That would have been noted. You know what Luke's like. You won't get much past this man. He would have seen him dive to the inside. He's like, your tyres are hurting too now it's got damp. So I think it's race on. They both have to stop. Luke arguably will have to do a slightly longer stop, you would have thought, because he might have to put a little bit more fuel in. It depends what they did last time around. But here comes Walsingham then. That deficit is still too much for Luke Whitehead to hold back. He'll definitely get the place into turn 1. Will Luke fight it though? Let's have a look at those times as they come across the line. 2:01 to a 1:58. Aiden still with a good 2 seconds in hand.
Nothing
Didn't
there.
have enough pace.
He didn't.
Crazy.
Much quicker here through the mid corners though. Looking over the rear wing of Whitehead. A big Mobil 1 livery all across the back of that wing. Little look here. Are we going to see something? Yes, down the inside he goes. So for the first time in the race, Whitehead is no longer in pole position. Walshingham does go through, but it is now going to be a case of, can Walshingham make the most of it and try and stretch away and get a little bit of a gap? It's going to be a case of Aiden has to be absolutely on it at this point. I mean, the gap already opening up significantly. So both these cars still are going to have to do a pit stop, it would seem, before the end of the race. Unless for some reason, Aiden did put fuel in and did also is somehow going to try and take his wets all the way to the end. But looking at that, all the way off the racing line as well. In the background, you can see Valentine Barrier well off the racing line. The track's still damp. But it just slowly adds up time as well, doesn't it? Swerving off that main racing line. You might not think it, but you slowly start adding more and more distance to the track. You've already got just over 5.7 miles of circuit here. And if you're weaving back and forth, it's a bit like when you take your dog for a walk. You only walk 1 mile, but your dog walks about 8,000 because they've been darting around in and out of hedges, weaving side to side along the path. So that's going to be the thing. Doing the weaving adds a little bit more time, and especially down the back straight and coming off the lines, it all starts to add on to your lap times. And the track is already up to 15 degrees. It was 14 degrees only a few laps ago. So the temp's starting to come up.
One more and Luke will come in. Let's see what he does. I know he normally likes to go longer. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 more. I can't see it being much more than that. You can already see a dry line on the racing line. Only the smallest amount of spray being kicked up. So will the tyres slightly improve for Luke? Probably not. I know chat said there'll probably be quite a bit of graining on that tyre. There will be. And it's the hardest car, one of the hardest cars to control, isn't it? The Porsche. So it's going to be a tough old drive. He's definitely going to be warm.
Yeah, he's regardless of what the track temp is, his seat temp is going to be absolutely through the roof, and he's got barrier as well coming up behind him now. I just noticed that Aiden's got a little bit of a traffic in front of him, and I think we're going to see Whitehead go down to 3rd place on the track because there's a barrier right on the back of him now. Every time they get to a corner, just immediately these wet shod cars are just so much quicker. The line coming out on the back straight is fantastic as well. Can the Aston do it down the back straight? Can it get the legs? It comes off out of the wet, in behind Luke. He's trying to get a little bit of a toe. He's going to have the inside towards turn 8. Gets a nice little overlap. He's still got a little way to go.
2 lines, but
oh, there he goes. Gets it done. And that's the thing as well, though. Barry is going to be so much more confident throwing it in and knowing that he can go out over those wet curbs with a reasonable amount of grip. Whitehead being super brave to still use that painted part of the circuit and hold on to it. There's a big gap back to Boothby from Whitehead, so realistically I think 3rd place looks pretty safe unless something catastrophically goes wrong. But that's it, half the race done, or just over half the race done, and still Whitehead out on those same dry tyres that he started the race with.
okay, just a bit of information. Thomas is currently going faster on the new dries. He was a low 2, whereas at the moment Luke Whitehead's doing low 1s, so as in low 2-minute 1s. So he's a second quicker on the new dry tyre in these conditions. Luke's got to think about coming in now. He's losing time.
Oh, car number 29 is off. That is Vidalik. We'll have a jump back, see if we can catch what happened. I think this is going to be turn 8. We'll jump to that helicam. He's all on his own. I think this is going to be a case of maybe just clipped a little bit of the painted curbs. So it's not the inside of the turn, it's not the outside, or maybe it was turn 9. Difficult corner, to be fair. He's slowing down, and there it goes. The back just comes on round and overtakes him. And he's had to sit there and wait a reasonable amount of time as well to wait for Matt York to come through. So he lost a few positions. Someone just dives into the pit. Who was that? It was one of the Porsches. That was Pochpen. Yep.
Keeping an eye on Thomas's time here. It's the second lap on these tyres, the new dries, that is kind of quantifiable. So we'll see what kind of improvement. If it goes into the 50s, then it's definitely crossover time. And it's not. So we're still on the 2-minute bubble, so it's still faster on those wets at the moment. The old wet's still faster, but it's not a lot in it now. It's really coming down. They've got to think about doing it. At least the newer dry tyre is definitely faster than the older dry tyre at this moment in time. And it's at least 1.5 seconds now.
Even 1.5 seconds is just absolutely massive. And when you're still thinking as well that, you know, there's the difference between wets and dries as well. Just a quick one. Muniz de Campo goes through on Chamberlain on the back straight. So Harley Chamberlain, who's still out there on dries, is still losing positions all the way back to 13th place now. He's got Prendergast in 14th place coming up behind them. Prendergast with an absolutely fantastic race, up into 14th. Obviously another driver that's going to have to pit twice, presumably, looking at the weather. I've just noticed the track temp has actually just gone back down again to 14. So even though it's no longer raining and there's no fresh wet, it's still not warming up. It went up and then it's dropped back down again. And there's quite a decent amount of wind. Got an 8-kilometre wind blowing over. So, and it's cloudy, so there's not much sunlight to dry the track out. So we might see it stay damp for quite a long time. So if the drivers can be smart, there we go. Harley Chamberlain now comes into the pits.
I think the sun's going down. It's 7:58.
Yes. Yeah, it does make sense. I always forget that we are running on real world timing. So yes. Very true.
Getting that a little bit darker. That's all. Don't worry. The lights are on, so you can see. Oh dear. I was wondering when this crossover is going to happen between the dries, and when they even up with these wets. Luke Whitehead actually went a little bit faster than he did last time on these used dries. now that the dry line is definitely appearing. You can see the back end of the car, the spray is becoming ever less and less, especially through corner apexes. So yes, it's definitely going in the way of the dry runners now. It's just how much can Aidan Walsingham compound his tyre choice. This is the other thing we didn't talk about, Tim, and I know we briefly mentioned it. Walsingham doesn't need to come in again. He doesn't have to. Will he? That's the question.
It's a big risk, isn't it? I mean, he could try and stretch it out, hoping for wet weather. I mean, realistically, if he can go another 8 minutes on those wets, and maybe this is what Whitehead's trying to do. Maybe Whitehead is trying to go another 8 minutes on these tyres, on the dries, because then they'll know if it's going to stay dry or wet towards the end of the race. They'll have an idea of, if they can manage it, then he won't have to pit twice. Luke Whitehead might be one of the few drivers to manage to do a single stop race. You know, the time...
It all depends on how quickly this track clears up. Because at the moment, the dry tyres are only doing 2-minute laps. So 2 minutes, and then obviously the wet tyres are doing 1:58. The delta there is only 2 seconds. On the crossover that we saw for Walsingham earlier, it was 5, nearly 6, almost 7 seconds at one point, the deficit between the two tyre choices. So that's what Walsingham's thinking about. If Luke Whitehead comes in now, changes his tyre, it's only going to net gain him 2 seconds per lap. And all of that he loses from doing the pit stop, he has to do it, granted, but Aidan is definitely coining in the time now. He's definitely pocketing this extra. He benefited earlier, he's pocketing it now.
Just noticed the track has now gone to greasy as well, so those cars that are on wets, this might be a bit of a chance where the times might change again.
Luke Whitehead dipped into the 59s that time around, so he's now only 1 second away from Aidan Walsingham's time on the wet tyre. Let's have a look at what's going on with Thomas. He's on the low 59s. He's on the crossover then. Michael Thomas on the dry tyre is going the same speed as Aidan Walsingham on the wet.
Oh, just noticed Lovering with a 20-second penalty. That's a big old hit for car number 52 as we just jump on board with Michael Thomas and that lovely McDonald's liveried WRT BMW. It's great to see proper brand liveries, not just like, you get a lot of private companies. Sort of, you look at the livery and you're like, oh well, yeah, it's a nice design, but I have no idea what company that is. I do like seeing these sort of more traditional big names on the sides of cars. I think pretty sure there's like Burger King Audis and things like that. I know there's a KFC Audi at the moment going around as well. But it's really great to see these sort of liveries making a little bit of a comeback.
Definitely. I mean, it's all copyright.
I mean, we're never going to see, we're never going to see, silk cut Jags and stuff like that kicking around the circuits ever again. But it's cool just to see these big brand liveries on cars, just sort of, just nice big bold statements. Oh, here we go. Sorry, wrong car. I saw a Honda diving into the pits, and I thought for a minute that for some reason our leader had come in, but no, this is Lathinen into the pits. So he was running in 13th place. They dive in. Aidan Walsingham will jump back on board with our leader at the moment. So 1:58.5 last time round, and Luke Whitehead was a 1:59.8.
The only reason I can think he's going longer is because he overfueled the car. He's thinking, well, I need to use the fuel in this car. I need to refuel anyway. It'd only be losing me time if I don't use it. The current faster tyre is Michael Thomas with a 1:59.0 on fresh tyres. Luke Whitehead's doing 1:59.8. So the fresh tyre is only going to net you 0.8 at the moment. It's not worth it. You might as well stay out and burn your fuel and use the low fuel running to keep your car going fast. It's a real conundrum, this. It's whether he can gain himself enough space and time to be able to crawl back the difference between him and Walsingham. At this point, it's not enough, I don't think, for Luke to be able to hold on to the top spot. Walsingham has to stay out and hope that the condition stays greasy for as long as possible, and he doesn't start losing the tyre. He's going to be hunting for water like a walrus out on the plains of the Antarctic. He's going to be trying to get every single drop of water from this track to slow that car. Luke Whitehead still not in. I think he might have come in. No, he hasn't. He's on the pit wall, on the exit, still going round.
I can only think that he is now thinking to himself, oh, Samir Foch just jumping into the pits. Was running in 8th place, so that car obviously coming in to come and pick up a fresh set of slicks. I'm surprised that people aren't trying to get another 3.5 minutes out of these tyres, because then they're going to know if it's going to rain towards the end. I mean, realistically, it's going to stay dry to the end of the race now, or if it's going to only be a very, it'll be a splash at the end. So realistically, maybe 2 laps of wetness. But De Campo now versus Prendergast. This is the battle for 11th place. Muniz De Campo. The Mercedes AMG Team Craft Bamboo Racing. Try and say that quickly 8 times in a row. It's never going to happen. We'll stick with this Muniz. It's far easier to say.
Gotta love a bit of Muniz De Campo.
Entirely sure what happened to the cameraman there. He just suddenly decided he didn't want to follow the cars anymore and just sort of was just glued. It's like, what's the car? They drove past and then just the camera guy got distracted. You do sometimes see it. It's when they cut to a camera and it's randomly staring at something completely different. But there you go. There you go. Prendergast Senior in the chat. And what a time to be in the chat and going on for it as he goes round the outside of De Campo. Flying down the back straight, gets it done long before turn 8. And there we go, swings it in, nicely done. Absolutely no worries there whatsoever. Big spit of flames out the side of the Aston as well as he downshifts through turn 9. And De Campo looking like he's a little bit unsettled.
They're absolutely gone. He's running around on ice.
Walshingham and Barrier, both into the pits. So
yeah.
Our leader's in. And amazingly, Whitehead still isn't. He is somehow still going.
He's got to come in this next lap, otherwise we'll lose the time now. So he knows that the guys around him, they've realised, Walsingham's realised they won't be able to get to the end of this race. The tyres are done. So this is now where it goes back, swings pivoted back to Luke Whitehead's favour. They will come out on the faster tyre now, and they will start putting the faster times down straight away. Luke White, if he wants to capitalise on this now, and he thinks that this is the gain that he's made, he's got to come in. Otherwise, he's going to lose too much time, because they will be going faster than him now. There's no way around it. There's no more gains to be had. He has to come in now. Otherwise, he's only going to lose time. There's no net gain here anymore. His closest competition just pitted ahead of him, so he's got to do it. He's got to pull it in now. I bet his strategy team are just sitting there screaming at him. He should have come in 2 laps ago.
I mean, but who are we to judge when it comes to this? I think Makowski could be someone that has a really good run here. Running in 10th place, just coming to the pits, and this is their only pit stop, so they're on their single pit, so they shouldn't lose any positions. Further down the grid, car number 12, the Padawan, who's running in 22nd place, has picked up a drive-through penalty. That is going to be almost certainly for track limits abuse. We're going to stick with Whitehead, though, who's currently being chased down by essentially a backmarker.
Samir, isn't it?
It's not Samir. It is. I can't have a 444 of Kevin Niles, who's doing 158.6s. So a bit of an odd one. It's essentially he's down a lap in comparison to Luke, but he's obviously lapping significantly quicker than Luke. So it's a case of
here
he comes.
He's all right. He knew he had to come in. That's the net gain. Boothby comes in too. Boothby now knows he's running behind Luke Whitehead, who is possibly running in the podium positions. So Boothby there has just secured himself a really good finish today. Let's just see though who came in a second ago. It was Walsingham and Barrier. They came in together. So whereabouts are they on track? This is the battle we want to focus on now. Walsingham coming through. Yeah, he's coming through that turn 9 complex, isn't he? So I think he'll pip him here. It's just whether it's going to be very good, very, very close. I think Aidan might have done enough here. But what a drive from Whitehead through those tricky conditions in those tyres. Not to take anything away from Boothby either. He stuck it out and he tried his very best, and he came in the same time as Whitehead. But yeah, amazing driving in that condition to be that consecutive on those lap times. Here comes Aidan then. He's going to pass him in the pits. It's Luke Whitehead going. He is. It's going to be close. It's obviously going to take the position, but it's going to be really close. There goes Walshingham. There goes Valentine Barrier. And now the race is on.
Yeah, this is it. This is going to be a case of... It's saying Chris Warner in pole position, car number 111.
There's Thomas.
Ah, yes, for a moment.
Thomas should have... That gives you the idea of when Luke should have come in. Luke was ahead of Thomas of good, what was that, 6, 7, 8 laps ago Thomas came in. So if only Luke Whitehead had come in about 2, 3, 4 laps ago, he would have been probably fighting with Walshingham now, toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
I called it!
You did. You did. You're a man with many, many years' experience when it comes to ACC and Tier 1. So if anyone was going to make the call, I think it was pretty much in safe hands. It'll be interesting to see what Whitehead can do now, though. Can he get these tyres switched on and chase after the back of Walshingham? He's only got half an hour to do it, which seems like an absolute lifetime. And I imagine Walshingham will be thinking to himself, oh my God, please just let the time go. But it should stay reasonable. It won't get any wetter towards the end of this race. So now everyone is out there on the appropriate tyre. It is just going to be down to the driver themselves. Just seeing... I saw a moment ago, someone asking why Prendergast had a penalty. I'm not sure on that one. If you could have a little dig into that one for us.
I'll go. It's not even come up on the system yet, so whether that's gone, that's Kieran's dad, by the way, asking. Prentice Senior. Let's have a look. Responsible for causing a minor avoidable collision. No further action, I think. Yes, 10-11. Oh no, 10-second time penalty for car number 10 and a licence point. Kieran Prendergast, yeah, responsible, car number 10. So he's got himself 10 seconds worth of penalties there. That was involving him and car number 11 on lap 23. Car number 11, who's that? That's Makowski. They were battling earlier on.
Still inside. I don't think we caught that one on the stream. Little battle going on right now, though, is Boothby versus Jards. This battle again, hooking up. Even though it's getting darker, the clouds are starting to break a little bit. It's now showing sun through the clouds, so even though it is now 8:10, we might start to see a little bit of warmth coming back to the circuit. Obviously, everybody is on slicks as far as we are aware now. Anyone that is somehow stayed out on wets will be an absolute fool. But Jards really coming to life in this latter half of the race, right on the back of Boothby. If Boothby looks back, he'll be able to see that big grin on the face of Jards. And probably quite a decent laugh as well, as usually is the case with old Jardier. But now we are back straight. What can we have here? Oh, there's a big flash of the lights there from Jards. I don't think it's going to unsettle someone driving down a straight line, but it certainly looked pretty flashy. And absolutely nose to tail. This is NASCAR level bump drafting at the moment, isn't it? There was just nothing between.
I think he flashed to tell him that he was going to bump draft him. I think that's probably what he was doing.
Yeah, probably, to be fair. I imagine it's that thing of, again, two drivers that know each other well. They've raced together for a long amount of time. Not necessarily for the same teams, but very much sort of, just on the same grids. But it is lovely to see sort of, see these relationships building up between drivers. Maybe some of them negative, but predominantly it is, a great community here at Apex Online Racing. Sort of everything's community driven. Just having a quick jump further forward. My timing board was saying that Walshingham was a bit close to someone then, but I'm not sure. All the while, I've just noticed, obviously, Chris Warner still running in pole position at the moment in the Apex 1 car. Now that car it's only pitted the once.
He must be on wets still.
Yeah, he's doing 2-minute lap times, so that's still pretty impressive for a set of wets at this point in the race. But and he has got an absolutely massive lead of 26 seconds. I mean, Walshingham, we saw him absolutely... Oh, Whitehead versus Thomas. Apparently we missed that one.
Yeah, Whitehead just got past him.
If we go back 30 seconds, will we see it? No, we won't. It was before then, so apologies. I've now gone back 30 seconds. Yeah, we've missed that while we were watching the Boothby battle.
It's all good. Well, what's going on then towards the top? Obviously, Warner, he's not pitted. Just to give you guys some context, he's losing 4 seconds a lap. There's 24 minutes to go, and it takes 2 seconds to get round. So, yeah, do the maths. He won't hold on to this. He could hold on to a good position, though. He should be top 5 if he can do it. Maybe he might fall behind Thomas, but I think he might hold on to Boothby. But we'll see. He's losing a lot of time, though. We'll have to see how far down he goes. But valiant effort. He's doing the thing that I didn't think Walsingham would do, and that's pit the once and hold the wets through the dry. I think we knew as soon as Walsingham pitted early that he was going to double stop. It's just a shame Luke Whitehead left it out for so long, because he could have been really fighting it out with Barry, I reckon, right about now. But never mind. Yeah, Chris Warner, you'll probably see that time slowly get eaten away by Walsingham as he chases back his position. So yeah, dispatched is Thomas. Barrier up next. 8 seconds is the gap.
Lap times, he's about half a second a lap quicker than Barrier at the moment. So it's certainly doable. 23 minutes of the race left to go. It's pretty much going to be bang on 23 minutes when he crosses the line as well.
I don't think that's enough. 2 tenths a lap. He was fighting, wasn't he? So maybe it will be half a second in clean air. I don't think that's enough. What have you got? 22 minutes. That's, 11 laps-ish. At half a second a lap. 10 seconds, maybe. Maybe just drive through for Drone Team Barrier.
So there we go. The battle's gone. And now Barrier, who was running in 3rd place, picks up a drive-through. That's going to be for track limits. Oh, and after what an absolutely amazing effort from Valentine Barrier, that is an absolutely demoralising hit. You know, raced for an hour and 10 minutes, and now picked up a drive-through penalty. Absolutely devastating. That's a pack up and go home, isn't it? There's no realistic coming back from that. That is day done.
Definitely. Day done, definitely. Okay, alright. I'll take this back. Let's redo the maths again. We've got 22 minutes to the end. At the moment, Luke Whitehead is lapping a second faster than Aidan Walsingham because he's just in the faster car at the right time. If Aidan stays on the same pace that he is at the moment, he will be caught by Luke Whitehead by the end of the race, if the pace stays the same. The gap is only, 9 seconds? There's a second a lap in them, and they've got 11 laps to go. He can catch him. It's not over for Luke Whitehead yet.
It's not. Yeah,
Oh, this should be the championship decider, Tim. Why isn't it? It's fantastic.
I know. There's still another 2 races to go after this, isn't there? That's the thing. You sort of think to yourself, oh, the championship's nearly all done and dusted, but it almost seems like a long season this time round. But I don't think it is. We've got Suzuka next time round, and then we finish off at Spa. So 2 very different circuits, those 2. You can't call it. You really cannot call it.
It's going to be close. And maybe Aidan had traffic. The times have just changed slightly, but it's still half a second in it. It's still wholly possible that Luke could catch up. But of course, Aidan's going to be going faster. I think Aidan will hold on to it by 5 seconds. That's going to be my guess. But let's just see. Who knows? Luke's going to have the bit between his teeth. So you've got that aspect to it as well, as they just dispatched Warner. That's why there was a disparity in lap time last time. Walsingham was getting past Warner, all had traffic. Warner's in for the pits then. He's decided, that's unfortunate. Really unfortunate timing for him. Only 20 minutes to go. He's definitely not going to get the best out of those tyres. He should have come in with everyone else, and he probably would have maybe got a few more positions. So yeah, Warner's going to fall way out of favour now.
Yeah, he was in the pits a really, really long time. I think a massive amount of time, actually. I think not sure what happened to him there, but yeah, down to 14th place and possibly still falling. I think there might have been a mistake there, possibly from Warner, or he had no fuel left. To say he's tumbling down. He's down into 17th. And is that where? Yeah, he's now running in 17th place behind Zerbin.
He must have done.
Yeah, just
still running round. How many pits has he done?
It's 2. I think he's done 2 bits. Oh, kind of a 16. We've just seen a yellow flag come up for that one. Trying to work out where that car is on the grid. That was... It's the car number... Yeah, it's 28th place. That's one of the Ferraris. Not sure what happened there. We'll jump back.
Yes, on P28.
Yeah. What happens here? Goes up the inside of one of the Porsches. Oh, and just gets collected by car number 52, who was also having a bit of a wobble as that Porsche bumps into the back of him. big spit of flames and getting the car going again. That could have been a lot worse, but lost a few positions there in amongst that. So when the timing board...
It does, Franco. It does. He says, I feel this track invites drive through. It does.
Yes.
All you got to do is go wide on the turn 8 left right-hander, and you can get yourself a drive through in 3 laps. So, yeah, it happens very often. So I'm not surprised we haven't seen more. Obviously, Mikowski's got one. Valley's got one now. He'll have a few laps to serve it. He'll probably do it now. And yeah, as we've called it, or coined it in this series, haven't we? The pack up and go home. It's both attributed to a drive-through and a stop-go 30 seconds.
The stop-go 30 seconds is just... It's
pack your
barbaric.
bags, see you in Malaga, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, there is just no point. At that point, it's, there's no coming back from a stop-go 30. It's the entire pit plus stopping for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It essentially adds a full extra pit stop to your race. So at least the drive-through, you don't have to stop. You can just keep going through, obviously under pit, speed limits, but your tyres don't cool off quite so much. You only have sort of, the 30 seconds
it's like
of
running
going through.
drive-throughs one after the other, isn't it? The drive-throughs it's like doing 2 drive-throughs, a stop-go 30. Because the drive-through's about 30 seconds, and you then have to stop for 30. It is a pretty much, don't worry, Mum, I'll be round in 5 minutes, put the kettle on. Because there's no coming back for them. There's no coming back from a stop-go 30. But anyway, Valet's still got a drive-through to do. That's 30 seconds net he'll add on to his time, roughly. That's going to put him, in Narnia. He'll be down outside P20, I reckon. We'll keep an eye on. A fantastic strategy driven from Valentine Barrier today. Ruined by incompetence. Never mind. Not his, I must add. I don't know why the game is so tough on the track limits with GT racing. It's just, well done.
To be fair, it's got a lot stricter in the real world, sort of, what this game is all about. Sort of it is the GT World Challenge, which is the ACC is the official game of that. It used to be, it was stewards there with flags keeping an eye on things, and that's how they were putting in things, which meant if you were further down the grid, quite often you could get away with a bit more naughtiness because you weren't necessarily being watched quite so much as someone that was right at the front of the grid. But yeah, they've now changed it all, so it is all essentially all automated. There's no sort of way of getting around it. It's they've got sensors, won't it? Yeah, so literally like pressure pads on the circuit as well. So if you clip it and they look at your timing board and go, well, car number, let's just say for instance, kind of a 888, was the one that hit it, then that's it. There's no getting around it. It's coming into quite a lot of different motorsports. Probably one because there's less stewards than there has ever been, just simply because it's of unpaid work, people can't afford to do it, and also just to make it fairer for everyone. So what used to be the case of when you were running a bit further down the grid, when you weren't being watched quite so much, you could maybe just eke a little bit more out of a lap, get a bit more. That just doesn't exist anymore. So everyone is sort of a bit squarer and fairer.
Thomas got dethroned there by Jards that lap. Next up, Booth being Torregrossa. So this is the Michael Thomas pitting 6-7 laps ago, coming back to bite him, unfortunately, where Jards and those around him pitted, 4 laps ago. So yeah, tyres starting to go off, and also the damage you do running that tyre in the mixed condition. Thomas going backwards. Lap times are about 1.5 seconds off of those around him at the moment. Going backwards, unfortunately, for McDonald's.
Going back for seconds, getting stuck in the drive-through. Chris Warner just dispatched Harley Chamberlain, making good ground, and is now chasing after the back of Moon Eyes de Campo. That's a bit further down the grid. Another battle going on as they cross the line. Remy Papin versus Congratol. And I did see the hazards on for a little while on kind of 17, but couldn't really see as to why. Maybe they got together as they came around that final turn. It was a bit of a flash of the lights to say, hang on mate, let's have my spot back, because they were side by side down the pit straight. And now Remy Papin sits in again behind Congratol. George Boothby really closing up on the back of Thomas. This might be the little one to keep an eye on. Do you know what's even more sad? I can see the name of George Boothby's livery, the BSAX Racing, but I can't see the livery, which is such a shame. Next time round, I promise I will have it up and running. Yeah,
I'll send you the file. Don't you worry.
And then my eyes can finally bleed when I get to see it. As this is how I've seen his car all season when I've been streaming. To be fair, Toro Grosso catching up with the back of Boothby as well, putting in some really good times, catching right up on the back of him. You might almost find that Toro Grosso managed to get 2 for 1 here. Don't know what happened to my voice then. I suddenly just couldn't say the word here. It all just went very strange.
Times are very similar between Boothby and Toro Grosso. I'm not sure he is faster. I think Boothby's just getting caught up behind Thomas. So that's probably what the damage is being done there for Boothby. He's faster than Thomas, can't get past him. Toro Grosso is pulling in some time because he's sitting behind the car that's slower. But we'll see.
The inside on turn 1 doesn't work. But that was pretty brave stuff. Tried to nip up the inside there. Thomas gave him room. I just don't think he was able to maintain it. And another dive here. Can we do anything? Hasn't quite got the overlap. Going to have a better line through this section now, sort of through 4 and 5. Gets a little bit unsettled, does Boothby. But he's looking like he's going to have a nice run onto the back straight through turn 7 he goes. Yeah, he's right on the back of Thomas. Surely he's going to have the run here. Sticking more to that more traditional racing line, he starts to get the overlap as well. Toro Grosso on the back of them as well, trying to catch up with the pair. He's in behind Boothby. He's going to try and get past. This could be 2 positions lost immediately for Thomas. Thomas still going defensive. No, and he does. He loses 2 positions on the back straight. So I think the tyre degradation that you were talking about earlier on, where he took those took the dries a little bit earlier, really starting to show now. And through they go, Toro Grosso and Boothby absolutely flying and immediately starting to pull away from Thomas. And as you said, yeah, Thomas just going backwards. Just under 12 minutes of the race left to go. Luke Whitehead running in second place with 8.5 seconds forward to Walshingham.
He's lapping slightly quicker, Tim. It's not a lot. Unfortunately, it's not the gap that we wanted and needed for him to improve. Saying that though, Aidan Walsingham had a 1:54 that time. Luke Whitehead was a 1:53, so half a second in it. With that, he will need 4 laps. The timing screen suggests we have about 5 or so. We'll see. I'm not sure he'll have enough. No, that's completely wrong. He'll need what? There's 8 seconds in between. Yeah, more than that. He needs 16 minutes to get anywhere close to him. Not enough time, unfortunately.
Unless there's a mistake, which you can you never know. As we always say, stranger things have and will happen here in the Sprint Cup Series. Especially on these minnow endurance.
Sorry, mate.
No, that's fine. You crack on.
I said, Davin says in the chat, excited to see the NSX fighting at the front. Custom BOP, buddy. So we got a more even playing field. That's where you see cars like the Lexus there in the hands of Boothby. You've got the Honda in the hands of Lethen and Walshingham doing very well. The Porsche's been boxed to oblivion, so is the BMW. So yeah, you're not seeing that. I think the Ferrari's also taken a big hit. You're not seeing a very high-performing Ferrari this season. Congretel is the highest, the Congra Eel doing the business in P7. Anyway, 7 seconds. So normally watching them 7/10 apart, they're not. 7 seconds is the gap between Walsingham and Whitehead. Whitehead might throw the championship back towards Walsingham in this penultimate round.
I think a nice little swab. Oh, well, I was about to say there's rain on the cards, but it's too far away. It's in half an hour and there's less than 10 minutes of the race left to go. But I imagine a bit like me, a couple of drivers would have just gone, oh my God, no, and just had a little panic when they saw that appear and then realised, oh no, it's fine, it's far enough away that they don't have to. Boothby with the drive-through. Boothby was up in 4th place, has now picked up a drive-through penalty. So after all that fantastic driving and pushing forward, he has now picked up a drive-through, and with only 9.5 minutes left of the race, that is very much, there's no coming back from that. He's going to tumble down the order. We saw it earlier on with some drivers as well. But actually, yeah, it was Barrier, wasn't it, who's down in 10th place now after that drive-through. So realistically, Boothby is going to be dropping either sort of just inside or just outside. Yeah,
I reckon.
Going to be a big drop.
I think, because it's closing up now. There was a little bit of a gap we missed, I think, the barrier. That's why he didn't drop so far out. I mean, the pit's not hugely long here, so it's probably only worth about 20 seconds. So it's a good place to get a drive through. It's not like we're in Spa.
No, I mean, it's 3/4 of an hour, plus flights, basically. Be interesting to
It's
see.
not disastrous, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it's still not what you want at this late stage in the race. And again, it is one of those circuits where it's very, very easy to make the mistake and go wide. There's really not that many sort of... Obviously, you've got your brake markers, like, you've got the actual braking boards, but there's not a huge amount of things to look at to get your spots right. I mean, and Boothby's still really pushing it all the way to the very limit of track limits there. Putting the word limit in track limits. Take a little look back further. I think we've got Chris Warner chasing after the back of AC Czech. I think Mooneyes de Campo as well isn't far off. Chris Warner, we saw earlier on, was leading the race after only doing one pit stop and stayed out a very, very long time. Now up into 14th again. He was all the way down in 17th. And he's making pretty good work of AC Czech in front of him. I think he should be able to get through. Oh, there's contact. And he sends him round. AC Czech spun, so... And that has also now allowed Mooneyes de Campo to close right up onto the back of Chris Warner. So 7.5 minutes left for the race to go. Depending on what the stewards say, we might see some sort of penalty coming through, because that was a definite bump round.
People watching this stream might actually think that De Campo's first name is Mooneyes just because it's M on the timing screen on the left-hand side. His real name is Mattia Mooneyes de Campo. He's here not only to take your money, he's here to take your women too.
Oh, God, dear me, sorry, apologies about that one. Still, as you can imagine, me and Rage still getting over the same cough that we both seem to have. You would think we actually were in the same commentary booth, sharing each other's air, because we always seem to get colds at that same time. Little battle going on right now. This is Papin versus Barrier, so this is for 9th place. Barrier trying to go around, and he is. He's going to get the run on Papin. He's done
Still got the fast car at this stage, isn't he? Came in at the same time as Walsingham, so he's right up there with those pitters on the fresh tyre for the late shift, as you would say. Another car that might be going fast right now would be, where is he? He must got to be miles back now. The gentleman who was holding on to the top spot for a long time. I can't actually find him. Who was it that was holding on? Chris Warner, wasn't it?
Warner, yeah, he's in 13th place. So
he should be lapping reasonably well, I would have thought now. 1:53.7 was his last. He's actually going a second slower than the leaders, but the leaders are still going incredibly quickly, by the way. Just thought we'd just quickly touch on it. The gap per lap is still 5 tenths to Luke Whitehead each lap. So he is doing the business, but not enough business. More business needed.
Alan Sugar on the phone. More business. We need more business. I'm going to say, possibly might be drive of the day, car number 6 of Remy Papin, who started from the back of the grid. I think he is
100%.
that is absolutely epic. Obviously, played it to absolute perfection. Not only has he got the pace, he obviously got the the strategy just right. Now running in 10th place. He did just have Barrier get past him, but I mean Barrier out of place at the moment. He was up battling for 3rd and 2nd place for quite a long time, and obviously saw that drive-through penalty. So he is a man possessed, I imagine, pushing forward. In fact, what is Barrier's time? Yeah, he was a 1:53.05 last time round. So that's with an overtake and battling. He is absolutely flying. But Remy Papin, what an absolute strategy call that he managed to do, and obviously the pace and keeping it consistent, getting himself up there now with just about 4.5 minutes of the race left to go. And there is the possibility he might be able to hang on to this and keep himself inside the top 10. That would be an absolutely fantastic sort of recovery story after obviously not being able to take part in qualifying.
So Papin was at the back end of those who did the one stop, kept the dry tyres on until the stop, and just went dry, never put the wets on. He was with the likes of Alejandro in P7. He stayed with him, and I think the only other driver who did something very similar was Boothby, but he decided to call it a day. He didn't go the full hog and switch track onto the same thing as Walsingham, but a little bit later. But yeah, Remy Papin is the last driver of the one stoppers, and he's P9. So that's the gain you saw there, guys. P9. Walsingham called it absolutely brilliantly, on time with the pit, didn't he? He was the first in, so the first to gain, and then he decided to pull it in bang on time to maximise the time on the tyre. So Aiden's done incredibly well out of this, and yeah, I think Remy Papin is definitely the man to shout about today. He made the stop work where Luke Whitehead didn't. I know you say, well, why do you say that, Rage? Well, he went from last to ninth. Luke Whitehead went from first to second.
Yeah, it might only be lost one position, but it's a very significant position, and it is going to lose him the lead of the championship as well. If he doesn't cross the line in front of Aiden for the first time in a long time, he is not going to be in first place in the championship. And with only 2 races left to go, you cannot afford mistakes. You really cannot afford mistakes this late in the season. Nice little battle we just saw there between McCoskey and Kevin Niles. He does squeeze on through, although Niles has got a 5-second penalty, so although it was a nice race on track, it isn't actually going to mean anything in just a minute or two. I went to my timing board there. I thought I was going to get someone else, but Zerbin, another car that's having a nice little battle, but another car with a 5-second penalty, so almost pointless keeping an eye on them. Samir Foch doesn't have a penalty, and is currently being chased down by Chris Warner. 2.5 minutes of the race left to go.
It will be this and one more, I think.
Yeah, as our leader just coming across the line now. So unless for whatever reason Aiden decides to really slow down and sort of try and lose 14 seconds. Oh, well, there we go. Foch goes super wide at turn 9. Through comes Chris Warner. Job done, cleanly executed, and off he goes. And actually in the back of the shot, you just saw him, Boothby, running in 14th place now. And that's a big old gap back as well. I can't really see him gaining anything. He's got Munoz to Capo in front of him, and that is a long, long way up the road. Remy Papin, it just came up that he had a 0.3 gap, but I think that might have been a little bit of a timing board error, as he is appearing to be pretty much on his own, still running in 9th place. Still got kind of a 30 of Lethinen coming up behind him, but this is going to be their final lap. We're going to jump forward to Aiden, who is on the back straight, and you can see in the back Luke Whitehead. I don't imagine there'll be any sort of hard feelings between these two. That it was a case of 2 very, very different strategy calls, and Aiden just called the right one. Either way, Veloce take away a first and a second again, which is absolutely fantastic for them, and this will be the recovery that Aiden would have really, really wanted. So I jumped on board thinking it was his final lap, but it's not. He's definitely going to get another one out of this, isn't he? 100% he's going to get another one. Avalais having a nice little battle with Barrier now. This is the battle for 7th place. Hydra SimSport, Aston Martin being chased down with the all-black car of Valentine Barrier. Or black and grey. There is some slight colour changes to it. I thought it was damage at first, but it's not. It is just some slight colours on there. They've actually got Congretel in front of them as well. I'd be interested to see where Congretel qualified. He's currently running in 6th place, and realistically should be able to hang on to that to the end of the race as long as Avalais keeps up the fight for Barrier. But that's a lovely finish for Congretel, and one of the only mid-engine cars that's got themselves inside the top 10. In fact, the only mid-engine car inside the top 10. Oh no, tell a lie, got Walsingham up in pole. I just keep missing him because he's so far to the front. I keep going blind to it.
A good race going on between Barrier and Alejandro for P7. Barrier right on the back of him, going into, is that turn 1? I think it is. Bump drafting, bump hitting, and there's an instant. Off goes Alejandro into the left-hand barrier, and Barrier caused the barrier meeting for Alejandro. Barrier then up into P7. Oh, he does, you're right. Little Frenchman taking a scalp there through Alejandro's misfortune. I think Barrier will get a post-race penalty for that, unfortunately. He didn't wait either. That was the slap on the wrist. I think he will definitely get that penalty afterwards. So yeah, that'll be looked at by the stewards, I'm sure. Apparently he doesn't care. He's off. These things happen.
This late in the race, there's sometimes you sort of think to yourself, oh, it's the final lap, I'll just take the post-race penalty. Chris Warner's picked up a 15-second penalty for something as well quite recently. Jumped on board with our leader for a moment. This is Walshingham. He's in the final sector. He's got 2 corners left to go. Got a sweeping left and a hard right. And that is it, and then he is going to have it. I think we'll watch him come across the line, and I think we're going to cut back again to that battle. Is that a car coming into the pits now? No, it's just someone diving out of the way. But there we go, Walshingham brings it home, pole position. Luke Whitehead coming towards the line in 2nd place, and out of nowhere, Jards up in 3rd place. When did that happen? When did Jards get into 3rd? We completely missed that, but absolutely fantastic effort, yeah. Jumping back onto this battle now, so this is Papin versus Avilés. They're still squabbling it out side by side all the way through Sector 3. You've got Lathanen as well trying to get involved. Is he going to try and get a better run? He might have a better run. He might be able to get past the parapet car towards the line. He's definitely got a bit of a run, but he's boxed in. And I think Avilés is going to lose one more position. He is. Lathanen gets himself up into 9th place as they cross the line. There was absolutely nothing between those drivers. Oh, I think we just might have been an accident in the background. Not sure what happened there. We saw a car go flying. Boothby just coming across the line as well. 14th place. Zerben and Dubel pushing all the way to the line. Zerben obviously with that 5-second penalty. So he'll be pushing hard, but it will be all for nothing at the end of it.
Good battle for 23rd here.
Yes.
Coming through the final sector. It's Mikowski, Seppen, Koshnikev, and I think that's Padwan.
Dive up the inside of the final turn.
Oh, idiot
that
dive.
Was, yes, that was certainly something.
That was a thing.
Something happened there, and it was, yes, we'll just say yes.
Yes.
Something happened there. Oh, dearie me. Right, well, that is pretty much everyone coming across the line. In fact, that is everyone across the line. Oh, and that was actually, there was more contact between those two as well. Just afterwards.
There.
Yeah, I think that might have been a case of sort of saying, what on earth did you just do there?
What was
right.
that about?
Race results. So as they crossed the line, and obviously the penalties would have been added into the results to get an idea of how everyone did actually finish. So Walshingham with a well-deserved pole position, Whitehead in 2nd place, Jardier in 3rd, Torregrossa in 4th. 5th is Thomas, who did actually hold on to 5th place in the end, so good effort by them. Congretto in 6th, Valentine Barrier in 7th, Remy Papin 8th, Lathanen in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 was Avilés. Absolutely fantastic from all drivers involved this evening. We are going to move to a slightly nicer looking image, and then we hopefully will get some of our drivers in for a little chin wag. Hopefully get a chance to speak with some of our drivers, so hang on 2 seconds while we just move to something a little bit prettier than just the timing board.
I was going to say, Luke Whitehead might hold on to the championship here, because he'll have 443 points, whereas Aiden will have himself 338. So the gap gets smaller, but Luke Whitehead still holding on to the top spot.
I thought the gap was closer than that, but there we go. I'm getting myself confused. I thought there was only 5 points between those two drivers, but
maybe I'm getting it wrong. No, we're in the right season. Tier 1 standings. Luke Whitehead 355. Aiden
17 between them. That's where I've gone wrong. Yeah, apologies.
Yeah, 17.
That was 100% me being an absolute fool.
The gap's 12. 12 different. So yeah, it will have a little bit more work for Aiden to do, even though he's now 4 wins to Luke's 1.
Right. Speaking of Aiden, we can now bring him in for a post-race interview. Mr. Walshingham, what an absolutely fantastic race. You got your pit strategy absolutely spot on. Your teammate went for a very different strategy, and it just worked out for you in the end. Was that plan of pitting as soon as it became wet, was that always on the cards for you, or was that a plucking it out of nowhere kind of idea?
He said he was going long when we were talking in voice chat. He said he's taken fuel to go. Well, he said 50 minutes to me, but that young man was on track for over an hour before Buxton, so he definitely lied to us. But yeah, with that in mind, I thought, well, I can be substantially faster if I take less fuel. How naive of me, by the way, to think such a thing, because he was still absolutely rapid in the first stint. But yeah, I wanted to box as soon as the track became wet and put all my money on it being a two-stop. So it took enough fuel to get me through for like 35, 40 minutes. And I think by the time I'd boxed and there was that perfect crossover, I only had 1 or 2 laps of fuel left. So it was, honestly, I couldn't have done it better. Unless someone told me the weather up front. That was absolutely perfect. But it was a gamble too. Like it could have gone the other way. If it started raining 10 minutes after the cloud period, his strategy would have come out on top by a mile. He would have been still 10, 12 seconds clear or something. So yeah, lucky it went my way, but nailed it in the way it came my way.
Yeah, we weren't sure, were we, Tim? Halfway through that race, when you decided to pull it in, we were both thinking, that seems a little bit preemptive. And a couple of people thought, let's stick it out, Boothby being one of them. And then decided, no, we can't do this. But obviously, it was only 2 or 3 drivers that decided, I mean, more than that, it was 4 or 5, decided to continue. The track took longer to come back to those drivers who only did the one stop, whereas the deficit for you guys when you came in was about 6 or 7 seconds at one point, and you made huge amounts of time, whereas he was never able to claw that back. He went too long, I think, on that tyre. He might have been able to catch you a little bit quicker if he came in, but then you take the detriment of having that dry tyre on the wet track for too long. It's a tricky one to call. You guys, I think, just did the better job today.
Thank you. Definitely a challenge for him as well, because I know his strategy had that rain come in, like it came back in, what he was hoping for, he would have been far away and clear. We never would have seen him again. But also, if we'd boxed, there's no guarantee the push would have been quicker than the Honda in the wet. We've seen earlier in the season the Honda is so dominant in the wet compared to the Porsche. So,
It's a gamble, I think, for everyone. And we shouted it on the stream. It was like, it's a gamble for the championship. To be fair, it was. I mean, it was. It's brought it closer. And how that boy has managed to still hold on to it. You're 3 wins to his 1. He's obviously had those 2 second-place finishes. You've had a 3rd each. And obviously, last time out in Brands, your 6th place has really hurt you. But look, still fantastic drive, fantastic strategy, and yeah, really good, strong place to fight to the end of the season now.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Hope it runs up to the last race.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some good tracks coming up. We've got Suzuka and Spa. One of those, I think, is going to be damp. So yeah, let's see how it goes. NSX doing well. You're doing fantastic. The form's incredible. Consistency's incredible. Yeah, I really think you can do it this time.
Thanks a lot. I hope so.
No worries, buddy. Thanks very much for joining us. Congrats on the win. And I'm sure we'll speak to you next week.
I hope so. Catch you next week.
Speak soon, then.
Cheers, Aiden.
Take care.
Right, let's get Mr. Luke in, second place man, and see how his race unfolded. I'm sure it'll be very much of the same conversation we just had. First of all, welcome, Luke, to the chat. Commiserations. It didn't quite work out for you on that strategy. At one point, I thought, well, he's pulled a blinder. But it just didn't seem to, the crossover for you on that tyre didn't seem to turn on.
Yeah, well, first off, good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, exactly as you said, really. I kind of realised that, regardless of which way the strategy goes, there's a positive. If my strategy goes well, then I win. My strategy doesn't go well, then I learn something and I take a lesson from it. And, today there was a lesson. And, I can take that into the other races that I do. I think had it been maybe 3 or 4 degrees warmer, it probably would have worked for me. But, it was something that I wanted to try, especially after the races that I've had recently where I've gone for wets and it's not been the right call. So, it was, of course, time for me to make the opposite call as the wrong one. So it's one of those. It's something that I learned. Aiden did better in that sense. But again, there's positives I can take. I was absolutely maximising the car. The car was fast. And if it was just dry, we'd have just driven away. We'd have just walked it. So at least the dry pace is there. But yeah, just strategy. That was the only reason I lost today. So.
It's a real tricky one, man. I still think you had the right strategy for that race. It's just like you say, the temperature never came back to you. It made that switch over didn't work for
I
you.
think, yeah, I
Do you
think
think you
had
went a
it been
bit too long on that tire?
no, because the issue is if you pit earlier on slicks, you just grain your tires.
You
So
grain 'em, yeah.
you'd been like Mike. I think it was
Mike
Michael
Thomas did the same.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he pitted earlier than I did, and he came out ahead, but he was like a second or so slower when I came out the pits, and that's just what would have happened if I'd pitted earlier. So I think my strategy was, had it been a little warmer, and had it been perhaps a little bit less,
Maybe night to
maybe
day
5 minutes,
instead of day to
maybe
night.
5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes more or 5 minutes less rain,
Yeah.
then it would have probably worked. But at the end of the day, that's not how the race went. The race was not in my favor, and Aiden played a blinder, so GG's to him. But as I say, I can't help but feel satisfied with my drive anyway. With
Super
what I did
consistent.
and the pace and everything like that. The pace was perfect. My tire wear was non-existent, which is a rare thing for the Porsche. So yeah, I'm learning a lot from these races, which is basically what I wanted. Regardless of the result, I learned something, and I learned something big today. I learned something at Brands even. There's always takeaways, and it's definitely helping. And yeah, exactly what I wanted from this championship.
Fantastic. Well, it's kept the championship alive. I was just saying to Aiden, you're a sneaky goose because you're still leading the championship by I think like 5 points. You're obviously one win, whereas Aiden's got the now 3. You've got your 2 second places that really bump up your. Well, now 3 second places that really bump up your points, and obviously his 6th place out at Brands has really hurt him. So you're still there, you're still in the lead, and it's still Veloce versus Veloce into the final 2 rounds. So yeah, I can't call it, man. It's going to be fantastic to watch for everyone who watches and everyone who takes part. Thank you again, Luke. I'm sure we'll speak to you in the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, as I say. It's tough that obviously today the car's pace was really good and I wasn't able to utilize it, but we'll see. We'll see. And so I'm learning stuff with the car, so hopefully we can just nurse it home. We've been consistent, and obviously Aiden's had more wins, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited anyway.
It's not all about the wins, it's all about the consistency. Luke, from days have gone of old when we used to see you fly away and then have a crash here and there, and then fly away again and get loads of wins, and then have a terrible few races. It's massively changed. So, not too much down in the dumps, please.
Yeah, no,
it's been a huge
as I
learning
said,
curve,
I'm
man.
making big learning curves, and that's
Yeah.
as I said, that's what I wanted. As much as I want to win this championship, as much as the next person, it's still good that I'm learning stuff. So
Yeah.
that's
You didn't
that's
get the name the
important
panel
thing.
beater for nothing, boy.
Well, we haven't seen any of that this season.
No,
yet,
it's been
so-
super consistent.
Still 2 races to go, and one of them Spa.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if there's
Spa
anywhere,
is not a great track for me, so we'll see what happens.
oh
But,
god, here we go. It's gonna be a
luckily, I don't think we're gonna have any more rain. I think it's highly unlikely we'll have more rain. I think it's like 1% at Suzuka and like 5% changeable. And I think it's like 19% at Spa, but that's like a quarter of what it was here today. So
Why would you even tempt the gods?
because I don't mind Spa in the rain.
As Heiko will be thinking to himself, he'll be behind the scenes going, "Oh, I'm going to change them server settings." he'll be playing to you now. You know it.
Well, we'll see what happens. But GG's to Aiden again. He's playing by the numbers and he's coming up all good. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic race,
boys.
man. It was incredible to watch. I said to as it was going to Tim, I was like, "This should have been the championship decider." Like there was so much like if, but, or maybe. Is it going to happen? Is the change ever going to be enough? Has he got enough deficit? Is he good? Is he? Is the tyre going to turn on? I was looking at all the split times the whole time. Has he done enough? Doing the maths, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure you were as well. I'm sure you were watching him in your rear view as he was calling the tyres in the wet weather. Yeah, he just had everything. Great race.
Yeah. Well, we've not peaked yet, so.
No, it's only going to get better. So thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, boys. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Cheers, Luke.
There we go. I'm not sure we're going to get Jards today. We might do. We'll stick around for a few minutes. I mean, whose money? Whose money are you on right now? Is it going to be Luke or is it going to be Aiden? Aiden's been super good this season, like diabolically good. He's really kept Luke honest, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's what you were saying as well with Luke a moment ago, saying about it's not just about winning, it's about getting points. To quote British touring car driver Tom Ingram, pointsy weekends, that's what you're looking for, or pointsy Monday evenings is what you're looking for here. Coming in pole position, great, but if you then have a 6th place like we've had with Aiden, it's not consistent as much. I mean, it wasn't really as... I can't remember what happened in that last race, actually, if there was an incident or not. I mean, I know I was there for it, but for some reason I can't think in my mind why he ended up in 6th place. It just didn't go his way. But there's still time to pull it back. But again, Aiden cannot afford to make the smallest slip up. Neither of them can now.
Yeah.
I mean, I will admit, I love all the Tier 1 guys. They are all equal in my mind. Apart from Mooneyes de Campo, he is my boy now because of his amazing livery, and I'm not gonna badmouth Mooneyes because I'll wake up with a horse's head in my bed. But there is definitely a thing of I would quite like to see someone else win Tier 1, and fighting against, the champion as well. It's the champion defending his win from last season. I think it'd be what a great start to 2024 for a new champion to come through. I mean, and that is no way a dig at Luke. Great driver, done absolutely amazing things for AOR and for ACC as well. He's one of those drivers that brings people in. But Aidan Walshingham, really, I think he almost deserves it this year. If this season, if he can put it together, it would be fantastic to see because it's been such a strong season from him. Obviously that one drop at Brands Hatch, but it's so minor, and it makes him feel like the underdog, doesn't it? Even though he's not an underdog, he's still such a fast driver. Good lord, like ridiculously quick. But yeah, it is a little bit like the underdog, and it would be really great to see someone, someone else dethrone Luke, even if it's just for one season.
Do you want to hear a really cool stat about Luke Whitehead and Aidan Walsingham? So we rank the drivers at AOR. Aidan Walsingham, rank 126. Luke Whitehead, 127. That's how close it is between them. It's ridiculous. How good is that? I'm pretty sure that's done on statistics because you've got the likes of Boothby 101 and Barrier 86. I'm pretty sure that's not a random allocated number. I'm pretty sure that's based on finishing positions and stuff like that. That's how close these boys are.
Crazy close, isn't it? I think that it is just ridiculous. It shows the competition, not just in Tier 1, or say across all the tiers. It shows how well the tier system works, where it gathers up these very, very similar pace drivers and puts them all together. I don't think we're going to get Jards this evening somehow. No. It's been a little while, so I think we will end up calling it a bit of an evening. It's been 90 minutes of Paul Ricard. It's all on again tomorrow for Tier 2 Tuesdays, as I'd like to call it, the Triple T. So if you fancy a little bit more of this tomorrow and possibly different weather, it might stay dry, it might be completely wet. Who knows? It's always different. It's not a fixed thing. But yeah, if you'd like to join us tomorrow for Tier 2, that would be fantastic. But this was Tier 1. It's been absolutely fantastic race here once again. But any final words before we move to the outro, Mr. Rage?
No. Let's see what happens next time around. I mean, I don't want to call it. I got no idea who's going to run away with this season. It's almost too much to handle. Let's see what happens next time out. And I hope Tier 2 goes fantastically. Jump in and join us, guys, at the same time tomorrow for more toe-to-toe action around Paul Ricard. Yes, we'll see you next time. I think it's 4-time, by the way, for Luke Whitehead, not a 3-time champion. I think he's 4-time now.
Oh my good lord. Ridiculous.
I know, right?
Right, but the championship battle is on, and then that's it.
Yes.
It's on. Right, and we'll see you all tomorrow. If not, we'll see you all on Monday. Same time, same place. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Good night, guys.